don't think that I haven't forgotten about that. That's what I lay awake thinking about.
Pops in around 3 a.m.
Oh my God, I haven't given a shit.
We're not quite stopped no longer.
I love the warm weather. Honestly, 85 is fine with me.
Even when it's humid like that?
Even when it's humid. And my spouse, she gets the air conditioning and turns it down to 65, and I'm wearing a sweater inside.
She's my kind of girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate this humid weather.
Yeah.
AC 24/7, it doesn't have to do with us.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's what I heard. Grab a chair.
Yeah, no worries.
Really didn't think we'd have time.
Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm okay. How is everybody?
I don't know, but I'm okay.
Yeah, how are you?
I haven't seen anybody, so I don't tell them you saw
I
me.
actually think
I won't,
Jessica's.
I won't, your secret is safe with me.
Yeah, they're still looking for me, so don't tell them you saw me.
Do we have any other expected guests?
Jessica's behind Jen.
Okay.
We're supposed to connect anyway, so fancy meeting you here.
Hey, Jess. Here's your seat. Whoa.
Clipboard or anything?
Burning
I
down.
don't have a clipboard.
Good. Oh, it's too thin. Good.
I'm gonna be right back because he just had a cardiac thing, so I'm just gonna make sure it's not.
Jen, do you want public comment or
Yes, I
something?
want public comment. I'm just
Okay.
gonna.
Yep, go do. I
It's
just want
gonna be
to
a
make
real
sure.
quick, hey, I'm doing okay, kind of thing.
Civic duty called. We got home early, so
Yay.
just.
You're taking this really
So
seriously.
you put on your Sunday go to
Yeah.
meeting shirt and
Yeah, I've been
You didn't get
wearing,
the memo.
that I've been wearing all
we
day.
had the stretch versus the solids here. And,
Chris is on strike, so.
Yeah.
I can strip to a t-shirt.
okay.
We'll see how we get together here. So Norman's on our team.
Shorts for the key.
And looks like Kim and Jess are on their own team. They've got plain shirts for writing, so.
Oh, you never signed it? Oh, isn't that special?
He's like a mirage. He breezes
He wants
in
to
and
be
he
a mirage.
breezes out.
There's not a
And we,
trace,
yeah, and then
not
he's
a
just,
grain of
just out
sand
the
or a
door.
mote of dust has
Yep.
been moved.
Lawyers have to be in the background. We'll let you be-
I'm hiding behind that chair right there. All I can see is the hat moving.
it's Donald and it's not the hat moving. It's
Oh my God, yeah.
Hi.
I know.
Wow, look at that. Holly's here. Oh my gosh, you have a full house.
She missed that whole discussion.
I-
Oh, did she?
I doubt she did.
No, probably not. Yeah.
Okay, lots of items on the agenda. We're gonna keep them moving through, right? Early to bed tonight?
No, we're at 10:30 again tonight.
Oh, no.
You're killing me.
Oh, if you want to.
Yeah. Jen and maybe somebody on Zoom.
Gina.
Got it.
Oh, I didn't put yours in the.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yeah. No, you're not.
We'll call the meeting to order. Road foreman's number one, Scott Alman.
You notice the
Recording in progress.
outside mowing guys are here. Started on Monday. You know, whose road got done first. That's what they started.
Oh my God.
They're gonna do their usual 3 passes and like the state is only doing one. I
You
guess.
see that, yeah.
Yeah, the state was doing 1 or maybe 2, but
Now, which mowing is this?
Roadside.
Yeah, right,
Not you,
but
that's on the-
that in the state doesn't, That's ours,
Well, the state does their roads and we do our.
and we do our roads, so our guys are out.
No, it's the same
Company,
guys.
Same company, but we.
Okay,
yeah. They'll do our whole town in 3 days. Yeah, makes sense.
Are they usually like this week, aren't they like the beginning of June, July anyway? Is that-
Usually they're the end of July.
End of July, okay, so we're a little bit early, fantastic,
Maybe they'll get some
Yeah.
for those seed.
not
And it's
yet.
probably because they're only doing one pass on.
Thanks.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, was happy to see them, they were motivating along, doing a good job, so.
Last week, Jeff and I reset the abutment of the Kyle Bridge. In the flood,
Oh, the
Kyle Wooden Bridge.
oh, yeah, I saw the machine there, yeah.
And because the water was low, we were walking around underneath the bridge and got looking the I-beams over and checking some of the rust off and. They're
Very
not
steel
rust-
left.
They're not, there's no holes in the I-beams yet, but they're pretty bad.
That thing.
I would like to have an engineer take a look at them, to be honest with you. But the more concerning thing is on the far abutment up in the middle, one of the precast cement blocks, the top is all deteriorated. So it's really not supporting the end of the 2 center I-beams.
It shifted in or just kind of
No, it's
broken?
just kind
just
of
crumbled?
crumbled.
All spall,
Oh,
so are those I-beams are just sitting on the
Well,
dirt
they're-
on the far
No,
side,
they're setting on a.
or are they hanging from the deck?
They're setting on a 6-inch concrete cap. It's above the blocks, so.
Okay,
We drove our truck across it loaded 4 or 5 times. They're fine. They're not, I mean, it's not in danger of,
mhm.
but that's another reason why I'd like an engineer to just take a look at it.
who would you recommend?
That I couldn't tell you, but Jeff,
But we could get Phil Savoy back out again, he's the one who did the bridge engineering here so that we could get the repairs started when the state wasn't able to come out
right off.
right off.
He's
So-
he's a structural engineer.
Yeah.
But I just would feel better if an engineer looked at it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think
Phil
it's,
Savoy.
gonna fall in tomorrow. I think it's probably good for a few more years, but we should start thinking about.
Planning on it.
Mhm.
About upstream of the Kyle Road Bridge, the beavers. The usual deal is we catch them and give them a free one-way ticket to, I don't know, Omaha or,
They go to the farm.
Go to the farm.
Yeah.
They go to the farm.
do they get moved or do they get? No. Okay,
Go to the
I-
farm.
there's a reason I'm asking you
You
that question.
cannot, you cannot move them.
You're not allowed to move them.
Come back.
Well, and no one else wants you moving them to their property, so there's that. So I believe there's a process.
You do everything you can do to deter them first. And then
Yeah, and have we done anything close to everything we can do to deter them?
Right now, they're not bothering our bridge. They're
Oh,
out of
okay.
our right of way, so we can't do anything out of our right of way without written permission from the landowner.
I understand,
So
but getting written permission from the landowners
may not be possible.
may not be possible.
So therefore, we can only do anything if they're under our bridge or in our right of way,
Yeah,
which is what they do. They plug the bridge up.
right. And there is I forgot the name of the company but there's an outfit that will put, if I understand this correctly, they will go to almost the top of the beaver dam and put in a drain culvert, which goes down and tees to a culvert, so that when the water comes up to above the dam, it drains automatically rather than blowing out the,
Right, I believe they can do that on a culvert, but I don't think they can do that in the West River.
why is that?
Because
That
of the
just,
amount of water
okay,
you could have. coming down through.
I see.
And structures in the water, you've got river corridor and Army Corps of Engineers, there's stuff there.
And they do.
But I know
hand
there
the
is
river
on the town
upstream.
culvert. You run another culvert
Mhm.
out in the dam. Way out in, and they, for some reason, don't realize that it's
Yeah,
draining.
But you also gotta consider the volume, Jim. I mean, you're
Well, that-
talking
yeah.
a bridge, and you're talking about putting a little culvert in there, it's not gonna handle the volume.
right. I'm just looking ahead, you know, I'm trying to figure out what we might need to do with those beavers there, and I'm trying to figure out what the neighborhood, what the appetite of the neighborhood is for authorizing us to do anything, which,
I can tell you, the guy at the tree farm will say take every one of them.
yeah, that's not the guy I'm talking about.
And up there across from where you go up Prairie Hill,
Yeah,
all of a sudden the beaver dams are way down low, all of them. And I don't know who or what happened there, but looks to me like somebody moved a bunch of them out there one way or the other.
Or did something to their structures, because there wasn't any water in there either. Like, it looked like the water had been like,
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
that
well, the
somebody-
West, I mean, the West River up there is
Well,
really low, I mean, really low.
yeah,
I
but this
don't think
looks
I've ever
like,
seen it this low.
somebody, it looks like somebody pulled the plug
Diverted it,
on a
yeah.
bathtub,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
all the water's gone and just all these weird, you know,
Yeah,
valleys and.
well,
hills.
I'm seeing more of that all over, even
Yeah.
the pond, which I know got sedimented and all that. The pond up at the top of Cold Spring Brook Park there.
That was
Basically walking
for a
across.
long-
Yeah.
oh, well, that was, the July storm.
that just
Completely
silted
silted
it.
that whole
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Well, we're not gonna do anything about this tonight, right?
No,
Alright. Keep rolling.
you really don't wanna stay out here till 10:30, do you?
No.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I can talk about
jumping on board with
beaver.
me, Chris.
okay.
So what else you got?
That's all I got.
So are you gonna be kind enough to gracious on the 23rd, being the last opportunity to come in this room?
This is technically my last opportunity.
Right. That's what we were afraid of. We were gonna
I
say.
think you've got the answer to your question.
Should have put them last on the agenda.
Yeah, held in here the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with the storm coming, but from the radar I see most of it's going north.
North, yeah. They have flood warnings out, I got, while I was gone. For
But
north,
they dropped the amounts, and it's not,
I heard 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch in our general
Yeah.
vicinity, is that kind of what you?
and they were 3 to 6 up north, but now they've dropped it to, I think it's only up to 3.
I saw a 1/2 inch and a 0.2.
Okay.
It's kind of like these winter snowstorms that go on that portion.
Ooh,
So I can activate our EOC.
Not not tomorrow, not Thursday.
That's coming up. That topic is coming up.
Well, you're welcome to stay, but we're gonna move
Jeez.
That great scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you gotta ask him to stay, they're playing poker around a table and what's his name? It was Newman and who's the other guy? Redford was, was the gunslinger and some guy, was cheating and Redford pulled a gun on him and was gonna shoot him and Newman says, this guy's gotta leave, or excuse me, the guy, the other guy's playing poker, I'm doing a terrible job telling the story. Everybody wanted Redford to leave. And Newman said, no, you gotta ask him to stay. And they said, no, we don't want him to stay. We don't want him to stay. Yeah. If you don't ask him to stay, he's not gonna leave. So they go back and forth, and finally they said, okay, well, would you say, and Redford immediately says, no, I got lots to do, I gotta get out of here.
Gotta go.
Anyway, Sorry to waste your
Now you're
time.
gonna make me wanna watch
Terrible
the
story.
movie, which I've never seen.
Oh,
so-
that's a great
okay,
movie.
I
You
will-
ought to see
I
it.
will invest.
Alright, we'll put
Yeah.
the TV up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Next time.
Changes to the agenda.
There was one thing we were gonna talk about, what was it that you sent me a text about? Oh, yes, that bill from the, there's a $630 bill from, Wait and what's this for the
Oh.
testing thing? I just think
Yeah,
we ought
yeah,
to
it's
approve it.
the septic thing. the
Yeah, with
weight
some
management,
stuff.
Oh, from.
Yeah.
Oh.
Environmental,
Yeah,
won't it be in
I
the,
think it was 300, right? What's it?
won't it be in the,
I don't know.
I thought so.
Well, we'll see. But,
Well, anyway,
if not, we'll add it to the.
Yeah,
list.
we'll move on.
no
to
problem.
Pay orders, or to, public comment. They got stuff on public comment.
Jen does.
Yeah, I do. Well, I heard you say that and then, like, okay. And Chris, I don't know, you never recognized me, but I float around every once in a while. And Kevin came to join us, my buddy, again, Kevin Gill, one of our newer members of the Weston Fire Department. Trying to figure out how things kind of happen around here, so I'm gonna leave him in charge.
Done, but sure.
Yeah. We have our 75th anniversary coming up. Well, actually, it's just all this year. And we are going to have a parade. And I've kind of checked with some other people around. Particularly, I checked with the little school because they were toying with something on one of the dates we were thinking of. But I just want to float it past you all. September 14th, we would like to do our 75th anniversary event. And Jim, it may or may, high noon, I was thinking probably about 11 to 3. We're gonna have some food. I know we've gotta get the permit, that's my next question about, what is that lady's name? that we have to-
Features, Barbara Lloyd.
Barbara Lloyd, yes. What's the best way to reach her? Do I just call her?
Probably
Do I
house
email?
phone. Look her up, I'm sure she's got the same
Okay.
number she's got.
Okay.
Hold on, I can give it to you.
I can send you an email. too.
Yeah, I mean, I can find her.
It's easy.
I can find her. So Barbara Lloyd, of course, and anyway. And I'll ask one other question since we went down that road. Ladies of the Green, what's the procedure? We get permission from them?
Absolutely.
You call
And
Barbara
how-
Lloyd.
No, you don't, you call Carolyn Mullet, she's
Okay,
the president.
Oh, is she?
yeah, I knew that something had flipped there and I
And
just wanted.
she happens to be Barbara's neighbor, just like
Okay.
she lives one house down, but the proper procedure is to, in writing, make a formal request to the ladies of the green, attention Carolyn Mullet,
Got it.
my Weston Easter hunt days.
Exactly, well, so that's, I just
Yep,
wanted to
that's
double
two.
check that I
Yep.
did that, right, okay, so what we are envisioning, just so that you all know, so it's the 75th anniversary, could have picked any time, because who knows, right? Didn't know, anyway, what time of year, but we decided September, beginning of the month, before all the leaf peepers get in here. We have already done a little bit of a chit chat with some of the neighboring fire departments, nobody's got anything big going on, so we're going to invite them into town. We were thinking about doing a parade. I think it's not gonna be a parade. It might be a parade into town, but it's gonna be a
Sure.
parking parade. So that would be why we'd like
That'd be
to.
great for kids and stuff like that.
Exactly. So
yeah.
that's why we'd like to close Park Street during that time. In the event of an emergency, we'll already be there. So, you know, we'll of course do all the precautions as far as traffic and all of that, once we get everything figured out. We're envisioning maybe having one food truck, so I'll deal with Barbara Lloyd on that, and
Did you say 2 to 5?
I said 11 to 3. actually.
Okay.
But you were close. No,
October 18th.
You'll have to come back into the select board when you get closer to the date and make a formal request to the select board to close Park Street.
Okay. And how far, what's my lead time?
I don't
2
know.
weeks, 3 weeks, I mean, what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that this date is good.
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm saying.
everything else
Once you
is
got your-
rolling off of that.
Get your date together and.
Okay, do you want a letter, or can I just
Nope,
come
just
in
come in.
personally? Okay,
Get on the agenda with Shauna and.
okay, super, and just to let you know, We may or may not, Jeff had talked about if we were gonna do this event, we might do a little tickler for like, the Christmas and Weston stuff or whatever. I don't know what we're gonna do as far as the public, but we're gonna invite the public, of course. And we're gonna have little stuff for the kids and we'll see what else, but I gotta secure the date. We're gonna have, challenge coins. So I don't know if you all know about
No idea
challenge
what-
coins. Challenge points are a really thing. If you go traveling, if you go to any of the embassies, if you go to different fire departments,
It's like a military. thing.
military.
Yeah.
It's got a military component and it's a little challenge point. You get them made up for special events and or different units have them made up. So.
To kind of hand out to kids kind of thing, or? do you
Maybe
earn
to,
them, or-
maybe to sell.
Oh, you sell them, okay.
Yeah, because they cost a little bit,
Okay,
but we might have some other handout things. We're trying to do some gimmies too, instead of just always
Yeah.
taking.
And a
So
great big giant boot for the collection.
oh, that's
I think-
fantastic, I think that's great.
I think we're gonna have that big thing out where you can have your, that Kevin made that, as a matter of fact, the panorama where you stick your face in and.
You
I could, anyway, we worked on it together. Anyway, so that's our plan, just one.
Brilliant.
Okay. We're gonna, the other thing we're gonna do, just before, because these brain cells don't come along very often, I'm sorry, hold on, Kim. I lost it.
Gone.
Oh, no. We may, depending on what kind of backup I can get from the Red Cross. And if they promise me that we won't have such a high failure rate, we might do that smoke detector install thing that we did. We installed 72 of them right before the pandemic in this region. It was the Weston, South Londonderry, Londonderry, and they were all free detectors, etc. We were gonna do that May 4th, and we didn't do it May 4th for obvious reasons. So we just kind of put the kibosh on that, but that would be planned, that would be like a sign up sheet there, and then in October we do the installs, kind of thing.
So you're kind of talking the area of the Farrar Park and Park Street and
Yeah,
that
the
kind of
Green
thing.
Center.
And just so you know, because it's gonna come up, figure out parking.
Mhm.
Find out where the parking is going to be.
And maybe we'll even have some porta potties donated, because I'm big into porta potties, because you call.
No, we have, there's one on, by the mill
Right,
already, but that's the only
right,
one in the media.
so we'll just kind of see how it's coming.
There was a conversation with the middle school about doing a community day event, and it was in September also, but I don't remember.
That was.
Friday the
good as well.
13th.
They were gonna do
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, and now I think they might have moved it to the previous weekend, we just didn't wanna do it at the exact same time.
Right, that's all.
Yeah, it
So-
would
Bring it up
definitely
for
be
it.
better, different weekend.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so that's why we were kind of, thank you, Ken.
Yep.
And then my second thing, this is just a blurb for you all. Sean and I talked about it a little bit. We're getting ready to send out, I'm late on it, of course, but we're getting ready to send out our letter, and hey, it's been a year since the flood, this is where we are, we're gonna have a 75th anniversary thing on September 14th. At 2 to 5. No, I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, you're killing me.
See, you got it. But in addition to that, we found out that we can put 3 pieces of mail in that envelope at no extra charge. It's the same whether you put out 1 piece or 3 pieces, and we had talked about, Lisa, you and I talked about this a little bit. I've got stuff from we're gonna send something out for BT Alert. I also talked to the BT Alert people today, so I've got the process distilled for us to make it, keep it simple, stupid, kind of, yeah, so all of that, but just be thinking if there's anything from the select board, if there's like a little message, it's been requested that somebody identify, hey, could you tell us, what do we do in case of an emergency? I know, so, and then the other thing.
Yeah, your little flyer you did.
Right, no, but I mean, besides the obvious
Okay.
911. So the only thing,
That.
we'll work on that, but if there's any special blurb you all want to add, or Kim, if you've got anything, because you end up dealing with the public on this, or our library, if there's just a little, anyway, we've got 3 pages, we could do that.
Would it make any sense to think about a postcard, because isn't the postcard postage less than?
Oh,
It's
first
there's
class.
enough, yeah.
It is.
You
It is.
did a
Makes more
postcard.
sense or something.
It is.
But you
what
need
happens-
3 postcards though.
Yeah, what happens is you get a letter kind of from the chief,
Show 'em, yeah.
and then in there you get a self-addressed stamped envelope
Oh,
that to
right.
come
Yeah.
back,
You
so,
gotta do the
got
letter
it.
inside of envelope.
Okay,
right, so we usually put some fire
Did
station.
Got it.
you do the dry hydrant thing? Cause that has been on my mind since you guys. were
Well,
in
we
before.
can just put, and there's more to follow about that, that's gonna come up at
Yeah,
our
just-
other meeting, but
If it's in your mailer and anyone who has a dry hydrant, instead of us telling people their dry hydrants have to be checked and
Perfect,
they should
thank
be
you.
operable,
And
it should be in
repaired.
the, and repaired.
Most do.
Yeah,
Yes.
like there's like
There's
only
a ton.
30% that's working correctly.
right,
now.
and, you know, with the flooding and the silting in and all of that, and.
So that would be a good opportunity to.
Perfect, thank you for the reminder, Lisa.
No worries.
Yeah, and I'll put a little information, you know, if you need help with this, blah, 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 and call.
You can call me on the other thing, and then if anybody else has anything to add to it, we'll.
Oh,
give Shauna a
my
heads
goal
up.
is, to get these out and ready by the end of next week, so I think we can do that. Kevin's gonna be busy.
You're on it.
I'm getting ready to go wait for a week too, so it'll be perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's all I have.
Beautiful.
Hello, 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 hello.
We
Um,
need to know who's in.
Hey, this is Debbie Granquist. And before Jennifer leaves, Jennifer, are you, is the fire department participating this weekend with the library, the Little School, and the Weston Historical Society?
Absolutely, yes, Deb.
Okay, good. Great, thank you.
Okay,
And I didn't mean to jump the gun, but the next item on the agenda is closing the Park Street for this weekend, so, or this Saturday.
so you're gonna talk about that, so I'll stay and, okay, yes, and I'm waiting, my guys, one of them had a death in the family, and it was just a holiday weekend, so I'm sort of giving them a little bit of grace, but yes, I'm gonna holler at them pretty hard tomorrow.
Thank you.
We'll jump over 4 and go back to it, and take care of 5. For closing Park Street, it's a usual.
what's the time?
11 to 1 is the time.
Okay, I'm gonna move that we authorize closing the Park Street from, would 10 till 2 be okay?
10 to 2 sounds great. There's going to be, as indicated in my letter to you guys, there's going to be a fire truck. There's going to be a Ben and Jerry's ice cream truck. And we wanted Park Street closed because of that, but also so that the kids and people can wander from the green over to the Historical Society and over to the old mill with safety, so.
You guys have a parking plan? I mean, I don't know how many people will be there, but probably should have something figured out for parking. 'Cause if we close Park Street, there goes all your spots.
Well, with the theater being down at Walker Farm, the mill yard will probably be the first
No,
line of parking defense there.
We just wanna keep Route 100 open, you know, all the usual,
And-
and not flooding Lawrence Hill Road again, you know.
Right, but we can use, Deb, we can use a lot of the Riverside property for parking, right?
That's a good idea.
Sure.
Okay, so parking's on the, and the date again is July
July
13th, which is a Saturday.
This Saturday from, the actual event is from 11 to 1.
Okay, so 10 to 2, the request to close Park Street. I'll make a motion that we close Park Street 10 to 2, Saturday, July 13th.
all those in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
then deal. What's that?
Look at that.
All right, we'll go back to number 4.
I'm gonna jump off. Thank you very much, everybody, for your
Thank you.
Good
attention.
night, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, minute meeting.
I haven't read this one, but you got my comments,
Yes,
right?
those are already, charity changed those, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So 2 things I found on number 1, Green Mountain is spelled wrong. Sorry.
No worries.
It was a fast fingers typo. And on number 4, it's the same 2 sentences repeated 2 times.
Okay.
Well, no, it's not. Hold on a second. You've got two different dates in here.
Oh, yeah, because we signed 2-minute meetings, but it was the same,
Who's the
Same two
double?
people?
yeah.
Okay. My bad. That's all I had.
I had a question on number 5, about buried power lines. When did we discuss about ever having them buried?
That
Last
meeting?
Yeah.
That last meeting.
Because Green Mountain Power was here.
Was he not here for that?
No.
He wasn't here. Okay, so Green Mountain Power came in and they gave us the spiel about changing over the poles. You've seen this, the work that they've started doing and the red and the white tape mark. They're gonna put up new poles, try to get them on Route 100, get them out of places like crossing across Kirk Goodwin's property, things like that. And one of the things that he was saying is that there's gonna be, he had some maps. And one of the things that he saw was that there was 2 poles somewhere in the village here, and I'm not gonna be specific, it was. in front of
Post office
Far Park.
pole and one just past Drury House.
And Jim asked about burying the line so that you didn't have 2 poles right there. So it would come in from a place on a pole, go to an underground, get through the village, and go back to the next pole on the other side of the village. That's what he asked. That's what the question was, is it something? And he said, I think it's possible. I'd have to find out and
And the
get some
cost,
costs.
Cause we'd have to pay for it.
Exactly.
That's where it was. He inquired about it and the gentleman from,
Green Mountain
Green Mountain
Power,
was-
Tim Jones,
was gonna look
who,
into it.
by the way, is coming to town to just sort of look around to just check out the art of the possible. This Thursday, day after tomorrow at, he was gonna be here at 9, but.
Is he coming for something else?
That's, no, his main agenda is just to do a little walkthrough in town. And
About
see,
that specific thing? 'Cause I didn't
about-
know anything about that, so.
I just got this emails this morning, hold on. Oh, God, I'm in September, no wonder I can't find it. Yeah, Green Mountain Power, and he moved it to 8:30, because I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin, and
Tomorrow morning?
no, I'm 8:30 on Thursday, the 11th.
Okay.
Just to talk about it, and the apparently it's. I had assumed that this was gonna be a massive deal, but remember him talking, they've got a machine that has a great big digger, and you drag it behind a truck, you put a reel of conduit and wire
Does it
behind
all
it,
at once.
and it does it all at once in a single, and I guess they have ways to access it so that the cable company and the telephone company can run wires in there, and it sounds like it's less expensive than I had imagined it, although I don't have any preconceived notions, but we're
Talking about
talk
just
more.
those 2 poles, though. We did not talk about going straight through the village, straight through 100.
well,
Simply
but
just
maybe
the-
that's,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know, I'm just
maybe
saying,
that's
that's what we
possible.
need
I
to
think
talk
it's, we need to figure out,
Where are you
just to
meeting?
understand it.
On Thursday, where are we?
We're gonna meet right on the,
Okay.
right here.
The big question, I've lived here all my life, longer than anybody in this room. We don't have problems with the intersections we've got. We've never had problems with the power lines. Now there's all of a sudden this big push to change the power lines and change the intersections. People move here because we're supposed to be a small country town. But yeah, everything I see being done is transferring us to down country. And people aren't gonna come if they come here, oh, that's just like got home, nothing.
Well, the Green Mountain Power thing, there are really 2 parts to this. The Green Mountain Power thing, the reason they came to the select board isn't to us, is because they need our approval to do the work that they're gonna do, which doesn't include burying any lines. The proposal was to raise the height of the utility poles from,
That's a new standard that they.
it's a new standard, because since those poles have, you know, been installed, the trees have all grown, you know.
No, it's because
15.
of telecommunications, they gotta have so much distance from the hot wire up on top. And as it goes down the pole, you get your ground, then you get your telephone, you get your internet. And they just gotta have a higher pole to make room for all the wires and still keep their road clear. That's the main problem.
Yeah, well, in any case, they're just talking about,
Stronger,
pardon,
it's a lot stronger.
it's a lot stronger, and the whole,
Well, they wanna be on main roads where they can access
Yeah,
and fix
and
them.
get it out of the
They're
woods.
just trying to get them out of the woods. That's happening.
Right,
We don't give them approval for that. They already have that. What they were coming to us was saying, your town's coming up. We're doing one in Derry.
Right,
We're gonna
it
be
was a
doing
courtesy
what, yeah, it
call.
was kind of
no,
a,
I don't, they need a letter, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they needed a letter.
There's
Why
a
do they-
signature,
Why do they need a letter from that?
I don't know.
there was a
I
couple of
can
things
ask
on
him.
Dale Road, and I think that they wanted to switch.
Yeah.
I can look
No,
back through
they're-
this
we
stuff.
should get
they're like-
all of the info that Tim provided to us and make sure Denny gets a copy of
Yep.
it so he can read it
Yeah, it was kinda
by the next
interesting,
meeting. It was,
Yeah.
it was a good
It
read
was a
for
little
sure. Hard to
see
read,
some of
but-
it,
But
It was-
once you got into it, it made a lot of sense, so.
And,
I don't
and I encourage you, like, we all can't go, cause then it's an official meeting, so I encourage you to go with Jim at 8:30 on Thursday and hear what he's gotta say about the polls.
I didn't understand your point, so what?
My
you're
point
saying, like,
is, there's a
burying-
movement in this town, and you probably know about it, but they wanna change this intersection over here to a T intersection, which is a dangerous move as far as I'm concerned, concerning big trucks, because if a big truck comes down and wants to go south, when he turns south, he's gonna get nose of his truck in the northbound lane. Now he can turn south without doing that. They also wanna change the intersection up by the former gas station to a T intersection, and
This is the state now, or who?
Who's they?
the state has been here and the town has talked about it.
Okay,
And then down there on Foster Road.
Yeah.
The south entrance, they wanna make that a T intersection, and we've never had any problems with it. Matter of fact, the state changed one up on 103 going into Rutland, right, to go back way to the hospital. If anything, they made it more of a road hazard, cause people can't just drift off to the side. They have to really slow down, so a guy behind them's in a hurry, he's pulling out to go by, and sooner or later, guess what?
right.
Is this, on the Foster, I haven't even heard about this, the Foster Lane, is this on the south side of Foster Lane, where it joins at that acute angle? Right,
Yeah.
front of
So-
your old,
My parents' old
yeah,
house, or I guess my old home.
I think this is just Green Mountain Power was simply coming in to tell us that they're moving poles
Nothing to
to-
do with that.
to try to get them on the road. There was a couple of problem areas. I do remember something about Dale Road. But the question was, he started talking and he said some are overground, some are underground. Jim asked about the two poles that are far apart on either side, about burying them so that there isn't any obstruction there. And he said, I can ask, I can look into it, I can get a
Yeah.
number. So I
and
I
that,
don't
that's
think it
all
went
we're
any
asking.
further
Now,
than
did
that.
he say who is responsible for that after it's installed? Because my understanding is, if you go from a pole on the road, bury the power line to your house, you're responsible for it.
That's what he said, well, he said that
He's gonna look
You have to
into
pay
it.
for
He's
Yeah,
going to-
yeah,
We
they-
have to pay for the install to get it
the
underground,
town,
but it
my understanding was that the town would pay for burying the main line, but the individual homeowners will pay for burying the,
if they want from the
if they
pole
want
to
it
them,
from,
right.
from the poles.
Right.
And
Maintenance
but
is a
we-
good question. I don't think we really
I-
talked
we
about
don't-
maintenance,
we
but
don't know anything about this.
I
We're-
think he
this is-
just said they would love to have everything underground. It's, you know.
They
it
said,
hides everything
he says
in
they
there.
call it set it and forget it,
Yeah.
cause it's
Um,
very minimal
right, but
maintenance.
Thursday, 8:30, if you two go, then you guys
Yeah.
can hear him out and check it out, and it may be more than, the install may be more than.
Right, I don't know,
Alright, we can
Yeah.
defer this until we have more information.
right.
Sounds
Alright, so, was there a motion first to accept these minutes?
I'll make a
No. Hit it. I'll second it. I'll second.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of June 25th with several changes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go. Number 6 is more or less a FYI.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Kim may need to sign something. It says something about the town clerk. If I'm remembering,
Do
and I
we
will
have
forward
that?
that to her.
That was that certificate of service, is that what you got in there?
So
On
this
the,
is, this
it
is
was a-
basically an
yeah.
authorization.
yeah,
Yeah, F2S 1108-5.
Recorded.
And just record it, yeah. So I'm gonna move that we looked at this and
Just reviewed it. There's
and we
nothing to-
reviewed it, yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you'll get that, get recorded.
I'll send it over.
Is whatever it is I'm supposed to be.
No, it'll come to her. It's
Yeah.
the
Just
normal.
keep that as a heads up.
Yeah.
Number 7's River Lawn.
Hold on, let me get this down.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
This
How
is,
do we get this out? People should know about it. This is the Two Rivers program that we're part of, but it's
this is a strange thing.
Understood.
Because until we get the results of our hydraulic study that D&K is doing, we don't have much to say about this.
we don't, but it's out there.
Well, no, there's more to it than that. And that is that the Two Rivers Ottaquiche Regional Foundation, which is going to be funding this rivers project for Weston, Londonderry, and Jamaica. It is a requirement of their providing this grant money or offering this grant money that we have this hearing. And I told Alyssa Savetto that we have nothing to talk about, and we just assume not participate. And she said, basically, you can't not participate, you have to participate. But we don't really have anything to, they want a public forum with public input, and, that'll happen. But let me just say that this thing is going to be happening from 4 to 7. From 4 to 5 is going to be Jamaica. From 5 to 6 is going to be Londonderry. And from 6 to 7 is going to be us. There'll be 10-minute breaks between. And
it's like an hour each session.
an hour each session. And I think we
50
just
minutes.
show up and say, hey, we're waiting for the results of the hydraulic study. And thank you very much for, offering to provide assistance depending on what it
Yeah,
says.
we don't have a lot of ways to get this out other than,
I
I
think
mean, I'll post it on the Facebook page. That gets,
that's great.
couple
And I think we can
people.
put it up in the 3 usual, out
Yep.
on
The
the board,
usual
and
places,
the
yeah.
usual
Post
places.
office and library.
And, but this, I don't think there's anything for the general public to be aware of beyond what they're already aware of through the Flood Resiliency Committee, which, we have all the institutions in town that are sort of affected by the downtown flood.
But if they, like me, and I'll be one of those people,
Yeah,
who thought that, I knew what was going on. Now I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm gonna go to this, find out what
Yeah.
the hell is
It's-
going on
It's
with the river project,
Right, it's
because I we
Yeah.
for
haven't
the
talked about
public
it.
to listen to other ideas from
Yeah.
other towns
So I think
and
it's-
to put in
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
in their own input, that's all it is. We just
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
maybe post it out on the board, maybe
It's up.
put
I
it
mean,
on the
it's up.
website.
Yeah, do what we
on
said, and
Facebook,
that's it.
and
A
let
lot
the
of
public,
conversation, not much is gonna melt from it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's exactly. right.
Exactly.
but you need an opportunity to speak, and I
Yeah,
think
I have,
that's.
I have a couple of questions. One is, I mean, I think that coordinating with other towns is a good thing, given the way water works, but I want to understand the dynamics of the river, the resilience committee vis-a-vis the select board. Like, you tell Alyssa that you don't want anything to do with it, but is that as chairman of the resilience committee?
I wore both hats. I signed that letter, vice chair, select board, and chair of the resilience committee.
Right, but we never discussed it here. So
That's right.
have we ceded our authority to the resilience committee? I guess is my real question.
No, we really haven't, but we don't need to spend a lot of time talking about what we're gonna do with regard to the river project. Because there's nothing to do until we get the results of the flood study.
Well, that's
I
what we said, or
Yeah.
that's what you think anyway. But it seems to me that the state and other people are moving ahead with other stuff that we may or may not be plugged into.
One of the problems you will
Yeah.
recognize
So I was confused.
is
Yeah.
there's just too many organizations
Yeah,
going in too many different directions.
You got it.
I
And-
agree.
Nobody's working together.
Well, that's why this was, I thought was conceptually a good idea, to have people working together.
Well, hell, I put in an idea of putting a flood control dam just above Greendale Road where the ledges are, across there. Nobody even thought it was a good idea, but you cut off that much water. You're gonna save a lot of problems down here, Londonderry, down through, but it would be inexpensive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
You can dredge a river, you can pull out all the dams you want.
Right.
But one of the things that's gonna happen is debris will come down through and clog someplace, and then.
Okay, well, we're not talking about the solutions now. I'm just more interested in like the process, so I understand like. I know our reaction to this of not participating was kind of misinterpreted by some of the other towns, right? So like, and I was caught unaware of it. So like, I think just.
Oh, did you get some pushback from other towns?
Yeah. They're like, oh, Weston's not participating. So like.
I
they
didn't know
they
Weston
didn't
wasn't participating, this is a public forum for the Weston public to hear ideas and to present any ideas that they have for mitigation ideas, projects.
Right, so,
So,
okay, so
I
we're
don't-
just trying to clarify
I wanna
what
be
was
careful.
going on here, like, so. It's just things get easily misinterpreted, and I was caught off guard because it never came to this forum. So, I think we just need to be a little careful in the communication. Like, oh, Weston's not,
Well,
I didn't know that, and then I, you know.
Well,
So-
thought everybody was copied on those responses to Alyssa, but, and I got, this is a requirement of the foundation, the grantor in this case.
Right.
And I honestly, I'm glad to say this on the public record, it's a little odd to me to have Weston, Londonderry, and Jamaica all tied together for flood resilience improvement, because the West River goes through each one of our towns. Absolutely correct. But the problems that our towns were subject to are completely different. 100% of the water that flooded Weston was the West River. And it was because we had these two, the dam and the bridge, and we're looking at those. The big problem in Londonderry was that Utley Brook comes down and meets the West River, they hit like this, so they run into each other and impede one another's flow, and it can't just go out past the shopping center and down by Route 100. And 100% of Jamaica's problem has nothing to do with the West River. It was all the Ball Mountain Brook, which comes right out of Stratton and you know, down by Pikes, not Pikes Falls,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But,
fine.
but there's a statewide conceptual feeling with regards to rivers being, unified things and,
right.
upstream and downstream related. All that, I don't think we can
Well, it's not
fight
one
the
fix.
concept.
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
one fix,
No,
one fix
Clearly
for
we
all.
can't.
Yeah,
But this-
And you know, the fact that these three towns are bundled together in this single stream of grant money,
Right.
a very substantial stream of grant money as well. That's a good thing, but it's a very odd construct because each one of our problems are all virtually completely unrelated.
I will disagree with you, 100% of the flooding did not happen between the brook and the fire department, or between the bridge and the fire department. That's what we're focused on internally, and
I
that is
agree.
absolutely fine. Everyone is gonna have their own little thing, but in numbers, 3 towns together has a better chance of my project, your project, and the following project. So I think that this is important for the public. We have the Weston Resiliency Committee, which we do meet monthly, I think is kind of the average.
Yep.
And when we meet, we talk
that's the
specifically
flood
about.
resilience committee. right?
Correct. We talk specifically about a project that we know we can get off the ground. There can be other projects added to that. Weston's not opposed to that. There is a project kind of that is being proposed, and the study is being done right now. So that's the Dubois and King that Jim is speaking of. So I agree that we have our own little, let's focus on this because this is something we can wrap our heads around, but there are multiple other areas that we could focus on. And same thing I'm hearing from Londonderry and the same thing with Jamaica. So this to me just said, public is able to go listen, see what they're doing, they can hear what we're doing. And it's we as a community, not we as a select board, but we as a committee, just the public. So that's what I took this as, and that's what I think it should have been. And I don't think we should have written a letter and said we're not interested as a select board, but as a public, I'm,
Well, but
I don't.
doesn't this say that the select boards will be there or something like that? Not
I
in
don't
this,
know.
but
I
We will.
didn't see
in the
anything where we
email.
asked.
We will be there. Yeah, we
yeah,
will be there.
right, yeah.
But again, this whole Rivers project specifically does not address all the things you're talking about, which are really important things. But they are looking for 2 projects for each town to spend a substantial amount of money on. And it's not about flooding on Burton Road. It's not about,
It
you
should
know,
be. It should be Burton Road. It should be Felton Road. It should be Greendale and Jennybrook Road.
but it's,
I'm just telling you.
they can't get this kind of an initiative can't be that granular. They're looking for big projects that are very closely related to the
And
West
I
River
hope that
writ
this,
large.
I hope this gets settled. I really do. But I'm just going on the record. There
Yeah.
are other places that we could prevent hundreds of property owners from having issues next time. So
Well,
That
there
being
there
said-
might,
I
there might
don't
be a big
disagree.
project that's worthwhile, we need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
wait and see.
Anyway, so we're gonna just
Right.
post this and do all
Post it.
that.
Yeah,
Stuff.
yes.
Would it be worthwhile to point out somewhere, maybe with an addendum or something we could clip to it, that it's going to be Jamaica from 4 to 5,
Sure.
Londonderry 5 to 6, and Weston 6 to 7, just so
Yeah.
that somebody who's
I wanna
interested
hear-
in
yeah.
Weston, I'm gonna go to the whole thing. And I think
that's the
most
whole
of you
point,
guys
the
are,
2 rivers is.
but, you know, a citizen of Weston
Yeah,
might not
you'll
wanna
probably-
spend 3 hours.
Put something if
Yeah.
you want. I just wanna know what Jamaica's thoughts are. Are they grand in their?
They have not
ideas?
been to any of the subsequent meetings. other than our formation that I know of.
You have one, you have a copy, you must have.
Yes,
put it in the
yeah.
paper, so. I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Not working.
Yeah, let's see.
Forum's got a U.
Hmm?
Forum.
Yeah.
UN. Just,
Sorry, I'm out of it.
okay,
What happens when you type by yourself
Ooh.
and it doesn't spell check yet?
oh, well,
You don't, you just keep going, it just looks right, you just keep moving.
Alright, we got the buyouts for 735 and 790.
So I just got those the public notice,
Well,
they,
wait a minute. There's
I
something
know,
wrong
it
here.
is, it's supposed to be Route 100, it says Route 100.
oh, whoops, yeah, geez Louise.
Typing by yourself again.
Yep,
Okay, so you received,
the public notice that just has to be posted on our website, which it is, and then in 2 other public places.
it's
The
already in the Vermont Journal.
the state takes care of that.
Okay.
That's nothing to do with us. There still is no timeline on when it's all gonna happen. They know that, that the Main Street house is for sale, and they know that there's a tenant in the second house.
Okay,
and
so they know. about
They
the-
know all
okay,
about
I
that.
figured it
And she says that Lisa, who I've been in contact with, says that they also just lost their contact with FEMA, so they're waiting for a replacement. So she said it's still very far off in the future.
Happens. But the posting was really for 790. That required that second public posting, so which is the Hart property, Jake
Mhm.
Hart's property,
Right.
so.
and
The other
we're
one
not
is-
far enough along with the bad man property.
Correct. He has just submitted some stuff today that was missing from his first
Yep.
application,
Okay,
and I forwarded that. So
So you'll post in the.
once they
public
hand it to me,
places
then
and you're-
yeah, it's all posted. It's taken care of.
Okay,
But
all right, so you've
um,
done that.
yeah.
Sure.
So we'll move on to the Gideon Wall.
Wait, don't
Excuse
blame
me,
FEMA.
before I
Don't
return my
blame
calls,
FEMA.
yeah, yeah. We don't know what the schedule is and there's some issues. Am I correct? Did I see that the
I don't know who that
retaining
is.
wall behind the playhouse on the riverside of the playhouse?
Somebody's out there, they
Got rid
parked
of
their trailer in the middle of the river, I mean,
Yeah,
taking up a
on the
lane
bridge, yeah.
here. I don't know if that was the
No,
gentleman who
no, no.
owns the property.
Now that's
Yeah.
putting a bridge in over here to
Wow.
Yeah,
For-
Roderman,
Roderman.
Roderman.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's his bridge project.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
so
think
that's
they're
not
probably
that.
That's
gonna-
They
That's a
didn't move-
personally funded.
No, no, but I
they didn't
saw,
move that
I
fast.
saw that, there's that new landscaping, to the left of the entrance of the playhouse. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I looked around behind the playhouse and,
Yeah, they tore all the bushes out. So you
oh,
can
they just
see
the
it.
bushes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, but they haven't gotten rid of the retaining wall yet,
No, the retaining walls, but that was part of clearing the trees that were done there.
so that they can get to it.
Yeah, so they can get to taking down
Okay,
that retaining wall, whenever that's going. to
whenever
happen.
that's gonna be.
Nobody knows that either.
Exactly, and that's what I've been writing the Army Corps about is, we need some clarity on when you guys are gonna be here, because we've gotta coordinate our work, well, the community association has to coordinate their work with the Army Corps' work, and then obviously the Riverside people would like to know.
And the WCA is asking to use Luciano versus their regular contractor who does
Well,
the work.
They would like to know if they can talk to Luciano about, if Luciano has contracted with somebody to bring in, let's pick a number, 5 dump truck loads of 2 to 3 foot stone for that riprap wall, would it be cheaper for them to order 6 and just let you know, whoever is gonna do the work,
Army
yeah,
Corps is not
or-
gonna mix.
well, but apparently they, when I talked with a guy at Luciano, he said, we do that, yeah, we could, you know, look, talk to us when we get going with that. But we need to know the dates, we need to know the timing so that we can get rid of the retaining, so that the community association can get rid of the retaining wall. And then they're gonna just put the last sort of tier of riprap with a flat top up against the building so that they can walk across it. And at least they need to know, the community association needs to know when the Army Corps is doing their work, so they can do theirs around that time schedule. And at best, there can be some coordination. And I'm gonna leave it to the, you know, whoever the community association is chosen, I think it's Shays,
No,
but I could be,
it's-
no.
It's Jason Hill.
Jason Hill, thank you. But, you know, maybe there's something, but I don't wanna be involved in that, but I would like to,
I know you wanna know when it's happening.
yeah, they wanna know when it's
Jason Hill, as a
happening.
contractor, he's done all of the WCA work. It's again, it's just sort of stepping on toes. I think Jason's been extremely generous to the Weston Community Association. And if we bring somebody in on a piece of paper and say, hey, listen, we saw you were working, we want you to do a little
They've
bit.
also,
I just don't wanna step on
they've
toes.
also used Amazon too.
What's the section 408 application? Do we need to deal
The
with
408,
that?
no,
Okay.
the 408 application is having to do with the railing on top of the gabion wall, that the new gabion wall that the Army Corps is gonna be building.
Is it required?
It is required, and it is required, the Army Corps of Engineers who do not do betterments, oh no, they don't do betterments, but they're not gonna rebuild the railing the way it is now, they're gonna rebuild the railing with stiles on 4-inch centers, so that a kid can't go through. And that has some potential problems for, you know, the library edition and, you know, then there
Are they
may,
gonna pay for it? Is that part of their package with the email? Because they're taking the,
I think, yes, they're going to, that's part of their, what they're gonna do, and that's built into the cost that, or the price that they have,
okay,
or the money that they have been awarded that they're going to
Yeah.
spend.
that's fair, that's fair. I just wanna tiptoe lightly on Luciano. Could be a very, very nice company. We can get the riprap from Shades. He's probably gonna get the riprap from Shades, so I think we should.
It's,
So
I just wanna,
2025 project now?
pardon?
Are we looking at next year?
No, this is gonna be this summer. They say it's gonna
The
start,
Army Corps portion.
the Army Corps portion,
It is, but we just don't know when. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
there was.
Already
Well,
July.
their guy just left, so we don't know, like, you know, there's one.
Oh, the
talk
Army
to
Corps
another, I don't
guy?
know. I'm just saying,
Probably.
Ninja.
there's always somebody leaving and there's always
Yeah.
somebody coming in, so,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good update. I just don't wanna mix the two. What the WCA does
Yeah.
can be timelined with Luciano, no problem. I just wanna be very cognizant of,
Think they know when winter starts in Vermont?
nope. Nope, they're from Rhode Island, I think. They're out of Rhode Island.
Luciano is from Rhode Island.
Alright, we'll go number 10.
Skip.
All right, this is on to-
And Chris, that was just something I found, so I stuck it in there because it has a list of the towns that do it
Yeah.
and the towns that don't, which I thought was kind of good to look at.
Tax options.
Just, I saw that the legislature passed a part of their tax updating law was to make it so that they made it easier for the towns to institute local options tax. Have we discussed that in this forum?
I can't
before?
support it, Chris.
Well, there's 3 different ones. You can do.
I can't support any of them.
Yeah, how come?
Well, it's supposed to be a penny, but towns don't get the penny. That state keeps 3/10 of that penny.
That's correct, yeah.
And it makes it harder for local businesses. And the more taxes we put on the tourists, the less they'll be wanting to come around and spend here. We have knocked Massachusetts off as a top tax state in the Northeast.
Yeah.
But
You know, we did this.
There's no way I'm gonna do it, we discussed it before, you can talk to all these guys, but I won't support it.
Right. We did this in Manchester when I was working down there quite successfully. You get people coming from out of town, spending all their money. They don't pay attention to the 1%. And it raises a lot of money to lower taxes for the locals. You do sales, you can do rooms and meals, or no meals and alcohol, or you can do rooms. And now one of the other changes was that you do rooms, it also gets the Airbnb.
See, there you go again, a person's found a way to make an extra buck, and the state's gonna slap a tax rate on them. This
This is up to us.
tax is,
Well, in general, I agree, but I'm trying to lower our taxes,
well, then you gotta take and do something about the education tax,
Well,
because they are
that's-
so far out of whack. And more I'm asking, where the heck did all the tax money from the real estate transfers go?
That I can't help you with.
I need to read up on this, I wanna skip.
Yeah,
it today.
I'm not-
I don't have
I'm
enough
not aware of this,
information
but-
to even,
Yeah,
I will table it from this one.
but it
so
sounds,
let's give us some,
sounds
can we
interesting.
table it for two meetings? There's
Yeah.
so much going on the next 2 weeks.
Now we have,
So the next time this comes up, it's gonna be August
I'll see
13th,
I'll see
right?
if my wife likes this. Then I'll-
Then you'll know,
Right.
then you'll know what you
Then
think.
I'll know what I think.
Yeah, personnel policy, good job on the personnel policy. I have a couple questions.
As I hope people would.
Yep. And I like that you put in bold. Why you did or did not do
I
something.
tried to do that exactly for you, because you asked me.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I have one question for you, Ally,
Yes, sir.
and
See if I can remember.
no, it's a hard question, but it's number 4 on vacation.
Yeah, that was an interesting section.
In my experience with other things, you go out and hire somebody.
Yeah.
And they've got time built up and vacation time built up where they are. Then you ask them to start from scratch and build over again. And my inclination is, in most industry today, that does not apply if a person's already got a certain amount of vacation time.
Oh, 11.4, not 4.
Yeah, 11.4,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
If a
Okay,
person
we're all
has,
wrong, so
yeah.
11.4, each,
That's something we've got to be extremely flexible, but I don't know how you word it.
Well, and that's it, and that was the difficult part of the whole thing, because I know we want to be relatively generous with employees and flexible, but by the same token, we don't want to burden ourselves with bookkeeping and accounting requirements that are, difficult to kind of manage.
Yeah, but basically I'm saying if I was a person out there 35, 40 years old, I
Right,
was working someplace and had 4 weeks paid vacation.
right,
And you wanted me to come to work for you,
right.
unless I got my 4 weeks.
Well, they can
we,
negotiate that.
yeah, we can
Oh, no,
do an
yeah,
individual
you mean for
contract.
someone who's like a seasoned employee or whatever? Yeah.
Well, anybody,
Yeah.
Oh, that may be true, yeah.
I think we have to have a base, and I think that's where we are. Can I ask have you found a way to calculate sick days, vacation days, whatever, at the rate of pay
Yeah.
that was? So if I work for you in 2024 at $20 an hour, if I take a week's vacation, is there a way to calculate that at the $20? Or
You
if I
mean for
wait,
the lifetime of an employee?
if I wait 3 years and I want
Or,
all
or
3
you
weeks
wait,
of my
or you
vacation-
wait 30 years,
3 is
Okay.
in my timeframe.
yeah,
3
Yeah.
years and now I've got, let's say, 2 weeks of vacation, 10 days, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't,
It has to be done manually.
yeah, you would have to
No,
keep a
that's
whole
just-
separate accounting system
right.
separate, and that's why the federal government and other businesses don't let employees accumulate that much leave
My
to
point is-
begin with,
I get it.
okay?
I get
And so that's why the payout part is kind of the way that Kim and I looked at our own experience, what other towns did, and that sort of thing, and just kind of said, well, what makes sense for us to pay it out, because if Almond collected 8 bazillion hours worth of sick leave in
This is
particular.
what we currently have
Right.
in the bank for
Yeah.
everyone. based on their latest raises.
but it's at their latest rate, so
And this one
there's,
increased an
Yeah.
automatic $4,000.
I just wanna point out, the
Yeah.
policy now always was after a year, we got a week. And then in January, when in budgeting, I propose that you make it after 90 days, so that's. After 90 days, an employee would start having access to their week's vacation.
and we wrote that in, didn't we?
I think we missed that part.
I don't see it, yeah.
So there's
90-day probationary. I don't like the 2 year. I think it should be 1, 3, 5, and 10. I think that 2 full weeks. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to share?
oh, no, well,
Oh, okay.
I have too many copies of this.
Okay, I didn't know.
I think that was done partly, in reference to what Denny was saying, somebody comes on board and they have to wait now 3 years to get 2
Yeah.
full weeks of vacation. And even though there are generous, holidays and personal days, you're still technically looking at what's your vacation pay going to be. So you have a hard job in the road crew, particularly because that's who this is going to apply to now.
It applies to everybody. We changed this from a highway policy to.
To everybody as best we could, yeah, right.
It's an all-inclusive policy now. so-
Right, I understand that and I see that, but you know, they've got the hardest job. And for them to only have a week's vacation for 3 years is,
No, for years 1 and 2. At year 3, they would earn their
Okay.
second week, is what my suggestion is. You get it, you start being able to draw at 90 days. So your first year is 5 days, your second year is 5 days, and your third year is 10 days.
Well, the problem I see is a prospective person comes in and asks to see this,
Mhm.
and they read it.
Right.
And nobody's there to explain it, and they get to the vacation part. And I'm not sure how to put words together, but somewhere in this vacation pay, it should be stating that the town is flexible on establishing a vacation schedule. Because I'm definitely scared that some qualified people may say vacation is a deal breaker and they're gone.
I think we need one sentence in there to
Yeah,
say
what-
that we can,
Yeah, what can we say there? that
well,
would
I
be-
was just saying,
Well, we already know that we have the right to have an individual contract with an individual person. I don't think we have to,
But you can't really
We
say
can't-
that in a policy. It
can't
needs to
say
be in
that
the
to
policy.
everybody. I mean, if it applies to the road crew, it applies to Kim's team, it applies to Sean.
well, it would,
You know what I mean, like I'm saying.
I can
Put it in
easily-
a job description saying.
Well, this is the policy, we
Negotiations.
start with the policy, and if they don't like the policy and this is deal breaker that they get an extra 5 days in their second year, I mean. Fine, we offer a nice package of benefits, I think our benefits was
Still are,
Still is.
yeah.
our kind of score. We've
Yeah.
changed the pay scale. I think it's a win the way that you have it written, except for, I would change it to 1, 3, 5, and 10. I want to encourage people to
It says
stick around.
after 2. That would mean their third year, right? Is that what you were just saying?
Well,
Yeah,
so Kim says they're eligible after the 90-day probationary period
for
their 5
full,
days.
for their 5 days.
So that's
right.
year 1, but
Yeah.
it's really 3 months. And then at year 2, which would be 9 months later, they're getting another 5 days. So 10 days of vacation, 6 days, 3 funeral days, and 13 holidays.
Right,
Are we gonna work?
yeah, that, I
It's a
mean,
good package.
yeah, it's a good package all the way around. And I'm saying, we included, probationary period.
Right. We talked about it, but it isn't in under vacation, so. I
Now,
get that.
it's in a different place. 3-month probationary period. New employees progress form will be evaluated by the
Can
foreman,
we,
department head.
can we start at the beginning and just sort of hit them point by point and see who has any issues with anything? We have to get this knocked out. It doesn't have to be tonight, I'm just saying, it has to get knocked out. something on 5.1 I found.
I'm gonna write something in for
Yeah.
vacation flexibility.
Yeah,
In terms
I
of-
think just one sentence would be a good.
Give me the gist again, Jim.
What I wrote was that, I don't know.
You kind of get to it with 1.4 on the front page here, you can add to that.
Yeah.
We
Where
have that.
conflict exists between this policy and any documented
Oh, yeah,
agreement
yeah,
of
that's
individual
it.
employment contract, the latter will have precedence, which is what Denny is saying, but they just need to, maybe it needs to be a little clearer that,
Yeah,
that if you're looking at this, that
or,
you can
I was
negotiate
just saying,
Unless otherwise.
well, I was saying, that we have the option to, grant a new experienced hire, their, either their pre-existing vacation days or our, our long, or
It's too much.
vacation.
What if Shauna
See what I'm
had
saying?
4 weeks before she got here? She took in a job, she knows she's gonna start over, she gets 5 days
Yeah.
after 90 days. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you don't
I
want
don't
to put that in
expect
the
you-
policy. The policy should be just policy, and if people,
Right.
if people can negotiate a,
we have to work some direct deals, we have to. Not everything applies to everybody. We're gonna hire 2 new road crew people. One is probably gonna be super experienced, and the other one is gonna be green as heck. And this policy has to meet both needs, and if we need to do a direct contract with a super experienced, I'm all for it.
Mhm.
I think that's the,
Well,
that's
that's
the way
what
we
I'm trying
handle
to
that.
say with this
Yeah.
vacation stuff.
Is there a overall clause that says, policies are based on the discretion of the select board and are updated?
Or the select board
Or
retains the
contracts.
option to negotiate, and we'll do it with vacation, but we may be able to do it other places too.
Just
say,
one
To
more-
employment
negotiate
contract.
a vacation with prospective employees.
We don't need to be as specific as vacation,
Yeah,
because I think
say, yeah.
everybody's gonna say, oh, well, then I want 10 days on year 1 after 3 months probationary. I think,
Just say an employment contract, that'll include everything.
on 5.1, Kim, how we added you. Now, remember, this was the highway,
Right,
and now it's the all-inclusive, so
5.1.
it basically says the select board and the town clerk shall affix the number of hours to be worked daily. Town clerk's not going to assess what the town
No.
road crew do, but she does have, she can set her hours for.
That was the
I don't know
intent of
how to
it.
like say it, the office.
Yeah,
personnel,
without
I don't know.
getting overly wordy, that was the
You know,
problem.
it's just such a
problem.
strange thing, because my staff aren't technically employees, they're appointees. And
Right.
yet, we just think of our as employees. So I don't know how you wanna put it, but it needs to be appropriate and fair, whether they're appointees or town employees. The vacation pay applies. in following that. I don't know what you wanna do about that. I only set our hours. I don't have any say on anybody else, and that's fine, I don't actually need or want it, but I
So
don't know.
is this whole thing apply to them or not,
Well,
technically, or?
it hasn't until recently, because until recently, we didn't have paid vacation for the support staff.
Okay.
I just consider them part of your support staff. And we didn't have paid holidays or paid vacation for them, or even for the support staff either.
But in
So-
adding it, it makes them an employee, like now we wanna
Right.
treat them like an employee, so
Oh,
we
I
have
guess
to
that was my question.
incorporate.
So this
And,
is-
All I'm
and there's
saying
a
is-
movement to not try to take advantage of people by saying, well, they're not an employee, they're
Right,
appointed,
right.
you know, so with
At the
regards
same
to
time,
other-
if we're gonna give them employee benefits,
Right.
they become employees. So
Right.
my thing was, the select board will oversee the highway staff, and Kim will retain, the town clerk will retain her
Oversight of
oversight of
the town clerk staff and
assistance.
I just-
Whatever, I don't know how to word it either, but
Well, and that's why I broke it
Weird
into
thing.
those two parts there.
no,
And
because
it
it
kind of
says,
makes sense to me.
the select board and the town shall fix the number of hours. It's.
So you could
So you got
drop the town
one and
clerk.
two. You know, there,
Oh, there
or
you
the
go.
intent
Well,
of that.
Then take out the town clerk in the top one, because that's all highway workers.
No, but then the support staff is 512.
In fact, we just 512. So they're
We can
two-
make it anything we want.
Two separate, they're two separate things.
For part-time town clerk staff. I don't have anything to say about Shauna staff.
Right.
So town clerk staff,
So crazy.
I mean, it's,
It's
You
not.
think it's crazy
I
until
know,
it
I
comes
know.
up. That's what. that's
Yeah,
what's
no,
gonna
it's
happen.
100%.
So Kim does not want to be setting the road crew guys' hours. I
you know, they
guarantee
really
it.
would dislike
They're
it.
not gonna like
No,
it.
they'd actually love it.
They probably would like it.
More like your hours, Kim?
Young
Come
people
in
would
at
like
8,
it.
come in at 8. Overtime is approved by the department head at their discretion.
Okay, where are you at?
That's 51C, 511C.
So overtime of 2 hours or less, I will guarantee you that that's not gonna fly with the highway crew. If they wanna finish the project and the foreman or the commissioner feel like 2.5 hours is gonna get the job done. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't think we should have a 2 hour or less. If the road foreman and the road crew want to finish the project and it takes them 3 hours to
Yeah,
get it
okay.
done.
That was
That
in,
should be a floater and
that was in,
Yeah.
that was in.
gets
the old
abused
policy.
and the select board can review.
And the.
Why don't we just say overtime will be allowed in order to finish today's project, period? Just get rid of it.
Period.
That's
Yeah.
fine with me.
Yeah.
There's another place, that talks about the 2 hour thing. And the reason for that was that, the employees, if they were required to work overtime, they get paid for 2 hours
Three.
regardless.
3. If they
Or
were
three,
called in,
yeah,
yeah, it's a
whatever.
3 hour minimum.
3 hour, I
That's
thought
all.
it was 2,
It's 3.
but we'll take that off, right?
No, look, that'll be, no, Harry, what that's in,
Yeah, that's if Alman had to come in and sand
Right.
just the things.
or they got
He
calling
automatically
to
got
take
it.
care of trees
Yeah.
or something like
They
that.
automatically got a 3 hour,
Something or other,
yeah.
yeah, I remember
that
that.
was in the old
Yeah.
policy and that should
Are
continue.
we getting this reviewed by a personnel lawyer?
Are these what?
Are we gonna get these reviewed by a personnel lawyer?
Probably not.
We-
I need
we
this to
should.
be done.
I
Well,
mean,
then we're gonna have one road crew guy here really quick.
We can approve them,
So-
But we can approve them and then review them.
Yeah, yeah, and then,
Yeah.
who said,
but.
When we approve them, we'll take and say, subject to
Yep.
legal review later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause there's a lot going on in personnel law that we have no idea about.
Oh, there has been stuff going on in personnel law for about the last 75 years,
Yeah.
so, that we don't know about, so
Right, so it
it's
is,
probably a good idea.
it's important that that happens just to cover. We don't wanna do something illegal.
Also in that section, Harry, I'm not sure where I saw it, but somewhere I saw, we used, road foreman and we should add, road foreman, road commissioner, or select board chair. There are times when the road foreman isn't available, we don't wanna, we want the commissioner and or the select board chair also have the same.
Options. Yeah,
Flood,
to do
perfect
something.
example, the flood. Couldn't get a hold of Jeff, couldn't get a hold of Alman, we were the chair, you were like, do it, so. Can we add, road foreman, road commissioner and select board chair under the authority people?
Got it?
Pops up in a
Could
couple of
we-
places.
It does,
Do we have to have the select board
I'll read through
chair,
it.
can it be just a member of the select board?
Certainly
Because,
could, yeah,
just,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just thinking,
yeah,
because
member of select
Denny, he's on his bucket list,
right,
and,
Got it.
dang,
dang.
dang.
Well, put it this way, that how old's Trevor? He had a stroke, what, he's 40.
Select board member, right?
Yeah.
So if I happen to be here and they wanna install
Yeah.
or tear the bridge down and I say,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Rudolph.
I got it.
Back to the policy
I'll add
nine.
that, and wherever that applies, I'll try to find it.
Yeah, I think that's, well, maybe 5-1.
Yeah, it's within that section, but there was a couple references to road foreman having the authority, and I think we should.
And it got very awkward in several places.
Yeah,
That
I
way,
could
so I'll try to smooth those
perfect.
out that one.
9.1.2, I had, there's a question mark, where
Workplace
is?
safety.
No, you did good, you did really good, VOSHA's good, also there's MSHA, but we didn't need to get into all of that, so we're gonna leave that alone. I'm on medical records, you
Got it.
highlighted, maintained
did.
in a confidential area, I believe Kim has an area, I'm just asking if that's still available.
It is, but I don't keep medical and drug testing records.
Yeah.
So that has been typically the select board admin.
Yeah.
Only because it's super confidential, it doesn't even come through me. I mean,
Right, but we already know that the records are not locked up in there, so
Well, the shoe locks the door.
we all have access to it.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
put them in and
The
just
vault.
maintain one. I have them in a file cabinet over there that is always locked. Because it has that
That
another kind.
would do it.
It would make,
I
it
don't
would
Like
make me
easy.
feel like it's there and that's where it is,
So
you'll
you
know where
have-
it is, if you have to get it for some reason.
Yeah,
But I thought there was a rule about certain training being needed to handle these
She-
medical records.
She
It's a
does
whole-
have to have the training for the protocol of the whole drug and alcohol
Okay.
testing, but not about where the records can be
I'm
kept.
fine.
If we can just keep
That's
them in
different.
the vault,
That
locked
covers that.
vault. If it's okay, it's
That's where they are.
She loves giving me stuff.
perfect.
so
Okay,
we
so-
could say medical and drug records shall be delivered by the select board administrative assistant to the town clerk, who will,
Don't even need to know that.
Yeah,
file.
yeah,
Let's
I would leave it
let's
just as
just
it
know that
is.
it's
great,
Yeah, and that was
Fine.
the reason I highlighted it.
separate.
It was very general, but it doesn't pin
I'm
us.
good,
I don't want it in the records with the regular, this is what the guy makes and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is his cell phone number. It
Got
should
it.
not be in there. Also, quick question, does the select board have a D&O insurance policy?
I think
Which is
that's part of
directors
our
and officers?
VLCT,
It is under our umbrella,
Okay.
yeah,
of, errors and omissions and that sort of.
yeah.
It just, when he covered everybody except the elected people, I said,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
D&O.
No, yeah,
Okay,
they're all.
perfect, that was just a me question.
Yeah.
Retirement benefit. It was a typo. Sign off,
Which is, that's at the end here. somewhere.
oh, it's signs of, it's the very last sentence, signs off at the current rate. Is there a reason we're not putting the rates in, Kim? Do they really fluctuate that much? Like the 4.5% and the town covering like up to 5%, wasn't that what the kind of?
You're talking about the retirement
Mm,
beamers
yeah.
and DB?
Yeah,
They change
So,
every year.
DC is just constant.
okay,
It's 5 and the town does 5.125.
okay,
The DB, which is all the road crew, changes and is adjusted as needs of the funding has to provide
okay,
as the actuaries forecast in the future payout. And so it changes almost every July.
okay. So having it vague and not putting in like specifics is.
It's the rates as dictated to us from Beamers.
Okay, did you understand that language? It just threw me for a loop, because I was like, having a number is so much easier, but I get why we don't.
We meet the current guidelines as applied through the Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System.
Sometimes less numbers is better.
Yeah, true. Well, I thought it was a fixed number, that's why I was saying, is it a number that somebody can count on? It is not.
No,
Okay,
it's up to 6 something.
okay, no worries. 11 for the vacation, I've already made my case for year 1, 40 up.
Now,
40
why
hours,
don't we
5
can
days.
just decide what we want to do there?
And I say 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, which is 20 days of vacation at 10.
Which is a lot
That's a lot.
of vacation.
So does anybody, other than
Not if
Denny's?
you live in Europe and you.
Yeah,
Well, that's true, no, you're right, I mean, the Dutch alone.
Right.
Yeah.
I
A
think
whole month of other stuff.
Yeah.
there may be a time when Vermont goes with the 4-day work week, that'll be really
They
fun.
even
on
have a
a-
special
on a
term
cloud
for it
day.
that is not vacation, furlough. Yeah, so it's,
So I think you have to clarify the after, because it, after 2 years to me means your third year.
in your third year. But
Which is what you wanted, but your interpretation is different, so we just need to have the wording so that it's clear in there, so when someone reads it.
How about if we took out the word after, say, year one, available after 90 days, is that the,
Right.
after 90 days?
And I'll put that right in there,
Year-
so.
Whatever, I'm just asking if anybody else can get on board with year one, year three, year
I'll
five.
get on board.
So just say
I don't have a
year
vote,
one,
but I'll get on board.
I think you can.
so year one, year
Year
three,
one, year three, year five, and year 10. And it happens on the anniversary date of their hire.
higher.
That is currently how it's being done. Some towns might say, okay, as of January 1 or July 1st, but you know what concerns me about that is, your old road crew could walk out January 1, if you front load their vacation at the beginning of the year, and they say, I'm taking my 3 weeks of vacation, by the way, I'm not coming back. I mean, that would be concerning. So right now, Almond gets his in May, and Hugh gets his in April, and Brian used to get his in November, and so you spread that out.
Again, I was just
Year.
asking the anniversary of the hire
Yes.
for your benefit.
Oh, I'm sorry, I knew that.
Okay,
Yes, sorry.
So it makes it harder to keep track of.
well, she's keeping track of the three boys,
And
plus,
that's-
plus Shauna and.
Do they
Well,
know you
and
keep calling the
for
three
this-
boys?
We're the,
Three boys.
we're the girls.
The children.
The boys and the girls.
You know what? In
You
all
did join
fairness,
the road crew.
I took the support staff as like a January 1 date.
Okay.
Because that was just easier, and I only do the road crew because that's who used to only have it on their anniversary dates. And
So we've got
It's easier just keep the anniversary date from there.
yes,
on
it
the road,
is.
you wanna, I'm asking. This
It is, I have a
completely
little
you thing.
program that helps me and always.
And in
Remind
10
me.
years, if you say, I don't wanna work here anymore, I just want the plan to be whatever it is,
I'll hand over my little
cheat sheets, perfect. So we, did I go that through, or are we?
Yes, you
one-
did.
No, I-
Like you did.
Well, do we need a motion?
Thanks, Jim. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
so.
we-
We're
I
just-
think
we're
so,
just
no?
I don't
rewriting the
think
whole
so.
thing.
I mean, this is
Yeah,
gonna
rewrite
get
that.
revised. from
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to us, right?
You think?
This has gotta be close to being pretty
I,
close.
it's feeling a lot closer, yeah.
So I have one statement about vacation. So you put in 40 hours, 5 days. Our support staff only works part-time. And so what we had agreed to was that they would get paid based on their average weekly hours.
I thought I put that in there, but I guess not.
So-
I think we leave that, and if you wanna do an addendum for your support staff
Well,
It's
it's
based-
Shauna.
and Shauna,
Yeah, no, that should be in there. They're
No,
fine.
no,
They're
I
not
think
working
so, too.
40-hour weeks. They're not
Mhm.
working 40-hour weeks. They're
Right, so-
working
Uh,
So
a
what-
15 or. a
for full-time,
So that you're saying that the vacation time would be prorated to however many hours and what they're.
So they get 5 days, but at 4 hours each day.
so do we just take out vacation pay is based on a 40-hour work week? It's not,
no, okay, for full-time employees, it's based on a 40-hour work week.
Right.
The others are
Part-time or based on.
part-time,
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
have another
Employees.
paragraph.
Yeah.
for
okay,
part-time
and I put
people.
for, part-time employees are,
perfect.
based on what? what did
Average
you
work
say?
I said their average,
Hourly,
well, I said on, based on their hours, average hours worked per week or something.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
Because they might be putting in 5.
and that's what you're doing
That's easy,
now,
that's easy to.
so, yeah.
Average hours work per week. I wish I remembered how to do short.
I wish I remembered it. I
There
didn't
we
like
go.
it growing up in the morning.
So then we get to 11.5, which is sick leave, paid paid sick days per year. We're gonna leave that the same, right? We're not gonna change policy anything,
No, no,
right?
6,
And
yeah.
then I already asked Kim about the question about how do we calculate, there's no way to go
No.
back and calculate. So, do we have an exit strategy for somebody who is accumulating a lot of vacation time and a lot of sick days in a 3-year period? Because I'm calculating it up, not vacation, not holidays, but sick,
Sick and vacation.
yes.
Well, vacation says you have to pay it out.
Yeah, but we're gonna start paying it out,
Yeah, you
but we
can't
have to
accumulate
decide
it.
if we're going to grandfather in the current employees.
Yes, grandfathering in, we're
Yeah.
not gonna change anybody, that'll just
Okay.
cause too much drama in my opinion.
Okay.
But
I
yes,
would
it
know,
should
yeah.
be paid out. I do agree with the payout. Can we do that with the sick pay as well, Ken?
Yeah, so that, what we had proposed for sick pay is that they be allowed to accumulate 30 days.
30 days.
So they would be
A
allowed,
lot.
well, if you look at someone who has a heart attack and hasn't built
Oh.
up anything. And that's what I was using as a reference,
Got
and people chipped in for that situation. Because that person didn't have a
Yeah.
lot built up. And that allows people basically 5 weeks of sick in an emergency. And most emergencies, you know, except for,
That you
Major.
recover from.
right,
Mhm.
you know, that might be
Usually.
enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
And then it's again, always at your discretion. I
okay, so
mean,
once they get to 30, that's it.
and then they either use it or it gets, we say
Payout.
payout, I think we said payout.
This also says highway employees. This for all employees?
So,
I thought I added something.
No, highway employees cannot take their vacation days during the winter, that's just,
No, we're talking
No,
about
no, in this it says,
Oh.
each
Sick
full,
leave.
no, let's say, each full-time.
highway employee.
highway,
So,
yeah.
because you've always had a policy of 48 hours, and the state policy is 40. The policy that was enacted for state sick time, or sick time by the state a few years ago, is different. So you have to typically put in 20 hours of work, and and then you're given this 40 hours of sick time. And that's what we rolled in for the support staff, who is really just primarily Shauna, because mine aren't getting enough hours to qualify.
But it's covers you too,
So
right?
we
Well,
can-
no, I don't take sick leave.
Mhm.
I mean, I just take a day off if I'm sick. I just don't feel like, I'm a salaried employee. I don't see any advantage to the town to pay me sick pay or vacation. I
But
just,
this, as a policy,
for,
is this covering, the sick time should
This-
cover all the employees, right?
But they're
Right.
not all covered equally, right?
right, so you could insert state policy, which is typically 20 hours allows you 40 hours worth of sick time.
So this would
Right,
be,
so 5 days.
again, if I
or-
do full-time employees, this is correct, right? The
Yes.
6 days. And then part-time employees,
It's, it's supposed to be an average of 20 hours a week are eligible for 40 hours of sick pay. And, right, except their 5 days is really only 4 hours a day. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, that's fine.
So, but regardless, and that goes into the sick pay.
Oh, so if she was 20 hours a week, then, and she gets 40 hours of sick pay, she'd only get paid out for 4 hours for a sick day.
For sick.
Correct.
Okay,
Right,
fair,
right.
makes sense, makes sense.
And in all fairness, during COVID, things got a little loosey-goosey and, sorry, you're actually paying out, we're allowing 15 or more hours instead of the 20 or more hours. It happened.
can you send me
I can,
this email?
Okay,
a little
A little,
blurred.
yeah, a blurb
my
for
last
part-time,
one, yes, swear to God.
okay, and that's easy to add in.
It is.
11.8 paid holidays.
I wanted to ask one other question before we leave, sick leave, so we're talking about it, so, the provisions for donated leave. What some towns do, but I don't know the cost, is, there's not a lot. They authorize short-term and long-term disability. They pay for it for their employees.
Right, Andover is one of those. I think they have short-term, and long-term disability, and so part of
I would
that.
think our insurance would take care of that.
So
If it's a work related thing,
it would.
if it's not. No.
It's,
And
If
that's,
you flip your motorcycle over,
Yeah, I
riding
mean,
to
Yeah, your
Laconia,
medical,
then you're
yeah,
on you.
that's different.
yeah, yeah,
If you are in a town truck and somebody hits you and you're out for 30 days, then our disability should pick it up. So
Well, our
Right.
workman's comp,
we're workers' comp.
right,
Workman's comp, that's different, yeah.
right.
I think we should just leave that out. I think
Okay.
it's really messy and we don't have a number yet. And I need this policy so that we can hire somebody. On 11.8, I just had a question. I couldn't understand. I think it's just a typo. The second line, it says the 2-1 floating holidays. I don't process that. Is that?
Floating holiday is a
No, it's
birthday.
no, the language. No, it's not. It's not. It can be anything. We left it very vague.
Yeah, yeah, and so the whole, the paid holidays thing, I thought was easy, and I sat down with Kim and we got exchanged papers and all that, and then I read the one policy that y'all just approved that added
right. We
Memorial
added
Day in, and it wasn't on the
Veterans Day.
original list or something.
We added Veterans Day. We did not add Columbus Day.
And we didn't add Juneteenth, did we? We did.
I think.
We added
no,
Juneteenth and
no,
we didn't.
no,
Okay,
No.
okay.
No. So we were actually, trying
I have
to,
to find my-
Denny, you said that used to be that they could take their birthday off or what? What was the alternative to the second
Well, like,
floater?
for
Like-
example, their birthday came on Wednesday. And they said, well, you know, it'd be nice if I could have a Friday or Monday and go someplace with the wife for a 3-day weekend,
Got
something like that.
it, okay.
so we
So
didn't,
employee choice will cover it, right?
we just said a floating holiday that they could use. So this past week was July 4th on a Thursday.
They
Friday
can
be
make
a
Friday.
floater.
Mhm, okay.
Mhm.
But I don't understand it, I guess I wasn't really questioning the days, I guess I'm saying the 2-1 floating holidays, I
I
can't
think that was
process.
a typo.
Yeah.
So just
Pick out the one.
Yeah.
Right.
The 2 floating holidays.
Oh,
are
no,
President's Day-
because it used to say one floating holiday,
Yeah,
and I just didn't take the line to one out, so.
Okay,
that-
so get rid of one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's what happened. The road crew takes President's Day generally as a floating holiday. Because it's winter and they likely will have a storm. And they put it as the day after Thanksgiving. That's just what they've been doing.
But it's up to the discretion of that particular group,
oh,
Of course,
yeah, of the road
So-
crew to decide.
they also are given town meeting day as a vacation or as a holiday, and I can't give my staff that. So my feeling was the road crew will take President's Day as a floater, and my staff will take town meeting day as a floater. So they all end up with
A day off.
two floaters, use it when you wanna use it, I don't really care. And then that way it's even amongst highway as well as
Mhm.
the office staff, and that's what I was going with.
Okay, so we're taking Juneteenth off and we're leaving Columbus Day on, is that the ones that, you said Veterans Day was added? Is Columbus Day and Juneteenth,
Not nor, it hasn't been on the town's
okay. So
list so far.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah, good work with county.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 floaters, so 10, we say 12, so that would be Veterans Day, which I know you said you already added,
We added that in
that's
January.
11,
So
one more.
we debated, Howie and I don't think Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples' Day was a day that we were likely to take in my office because of being tax season, and we are just too busy. And Juneteenth is kind of the newest holiday to
It
be
is,
added.
it is the news.
Most schools don't have Columbus Day off, I don't think. It's mostly a state holiday and a bank holiday. Post office as well. So my vote was to drop Columbus Day. You still ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Keep
7.
Juneteenth.
As a road
9,
crew wife,
10.
I suggest we keep Columbus Day and get rid of Juneteenth. No road crew guy wants to be out on the roads on Columbus weekend with leaf peepers in Vermont.
Nobody, yes, pretty much nobody wants to be out there with me.
Right. So,
So I may, if we're too busy over there, I may give them a floater instead. Perfect, that's just how I would have to handle it.
perfect.
Alright, so drop June the
Yep.
8th.
Okay.
No, well, why would we drop Juneteenth?
Because we only allow them 12,
But why do we allow 13?
because we want 12. So, no. Came in with 12, Howard.
So 12, but we're gonna
12
cross out
holidays.
Juneteenth and
Yep, and leave
and
Columbus Day in, and Kim has the right to float that to her people if she wants to.
well, Columbus Day is already in the 12.
Yeah,
So
so
that
is
the Juneteenth
Juneteenth.
becomes a floater.
No,
No.
No.
How come we're not down to it?
because there's 2 floaters. 2 floaters plus the 10. New Year's is 1,
If
President's,
you guys are happy
Okay, we're
with it,
good.
if you
Perfect.
understand it, then I'm gonna stop.
we're just gonna
asking
cross off
stupid
Juneteenth, that
questions.
makes 12 days total. That's what the page was for. So, also, somewhere I saw that we give 2 hours.
For town meeting,
Right.
but that's different. I questioned that too. But I forgot to note it as I was doing another reading of this. So if we give them town meeting day off, then we can take that 2-hour thing out of there because we're not really doing that anyway.
Right.
How's that?
Well, they would put in for it. Get paid for 2 hours
Who?
and work, so they wouldn't,
No, that, yeah, I mean,
it comes across on the table.
here's my issue. If 2 hours doesn't get them past the voting in of the officers, if there's any issues, Jeff is a resident, Almond's a resident, if they wanna sit through their own town meeting, they
Right.
should be able to.
I agree.
Yeah, how have we been doing it?
Giving them 2 hours.
They may
Are
work
they happy
day
with that?
if
And
don't
they,
wanna attend, but they get their 2 paid hours.
It's on the list now
And
as
it's also a day they can come in and,
on the list.
Well, we can take it off.
no, it's just 2 hours she wants to get rid of,
Right.
2 hours for.
Oh,
paid.
get
Right
rid of
now,
the 2
town
hours.
meeting day is on a vacation, let's just give them the whole day, then they can sit through the whole meeting.
Or
If
not.
they
Yeah,
want,
half
or
the
not.
time they're working anyway. so-
If they have to or want to, they're probably putting up signs on that day, isn't that the day when they run around and put up all the mud signs?
Right.
Okay, and that was it, I just didn't understand the 2-1, I have nothing further, Howard, good job
yeah,
on this was a lot of work, I know.
Except we're crossing off Juneteenth.
Okay, it's hurting your heart.
It is.
Alright, next thing is the audit, there's 3 copies of it here. I suggest grab 'em and look at them and we'll visit it.
well, there's nothing new here.
Nope,
No, but we never really discussed it, we
Yeah.
kind of glossed over it at one point. I don't have a copy in front of me, honestly. And
Well, we have these questions about, they had specific,
corrections.
well, recommendations or. Yeah, like the grant spending and there was another one,
there was something on ARPA.
the
So,
ARPA.
If we could
Have,
just,
have they come back to us?
yes, and I'd like to start at the top and work
Okay,
it down,
let's-
with some that are totally governed through this stuff.
Yeah,
Fraud,
What page do you want?
It's the summary sheet, right, Ken?
it's
starting here,
page
second
3,
well, I don't know, it's the
It
second
says
page of our
other-
package.
Okay.
other recommendations. It was a loose,
It's loose.
it should say.
Jim, it might be in that second.
Hold on.
Oh, no, it would be on that copied one. It's gonna be.
Other audit findings.
Other recommendations.
Hmm.
So,
We're all looking at something different.
right now, May 20th,
Right, now say this one, yeah.
okay,
This one.
so,
Oh, yeah.
May 20th.
other
But what-
recommendations.
Oh, this one right
These
here.
aren't
Okay, this
Yeah.
one,
Yeah,
the
we-
front one right here.
That one is double-sided, this one is not, it should be this one over here.
It's all other
It's on that one right there.
yeah, I know,
It's
I've
not
got
on
this,
this one though.
but it's not on that.
That's all right. Go ahead.
All right,
Okay.
so,
Oh, here.
they they are recommending, they've done it verbally, they've written it this time, a fraud risk assessment. And that's when one of the partners comes in and does an evaluation of how much we're susceptible to fraud, and they highly recommend it. It's the first.
And how much is that gonna cost?
A couple grand. Now, I talked to our auditor. He was going to check with the partner who would come do it. They've just gone into the fiscal year audit season, so it is unlikely, unless they have a break somewhere, that they wouldn't have time to do it this year. And that would give us time to budget it and have it in the budget for next year. And, you know, it isn't that they think we're all squirrely, it's also just something to protect the town for in the future.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
it's a couple
It's due
grand.
diligence as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Isn't the person who's doing the audit, shouldn't that be part of the deal?
well,
We're
I
paying
think that
another
this,
2,000?
I understand what you're saying, but they're assessing how we're processing things and how we're managing things. And this is far deeper than that. And I'm trying to remember how Tim put it. They don't necessarily come in here and look for fraud and I just can't remember how he put it.
Fraud, waste and abuse.
Right, so it is a deeper look,
Mhm.
and it takes a couple days.
Okay.
I'm really
The question
happy.
I have is, we're handling sell for $5 million a year.
Yeah.
Why are we spending thousands of dollars to go through and look and see where the money we're spending goes, when it's fairly easy on this smaller amount of money that, I mean, the bulk of our money goes to Montpelier.
Because we are legally required to do so, unless you have town audit.
Yeah, but they're asking for these extra stuff.
They are making it as a high recommendation. It's a one-time expense. They're trying to point out areas where we are vulnerable.
It would
And I-
save us money. I mean, if there was fraud, it would potentially be a lot more money than $2,000. It's kind of protecting us.
And
if
as
they do
Howie
a good
said,
job.
this is due diligence, you know.
Yeah,
that-
there's no
I know,
indication
it's on top
or
of the.
implications that
Did, I don't
No,
know,
no, no.
have been fraud. Yeah.
if you feel comfortable with it, we should
Well,
take
it's
it
gonna
under
put a lot
professional.
more work on me I'm not excited about.
Do
I
these,
gotta tell you.
these people
Yeah,
do
well,
other
this is gonna be
towns.
for the
Oh, they do
2025 budget,
tremendous
so,
work.
yeah.
Maybe we should ask another town who's they've done this for,
Yes,
if-
I can do
how, you know, whether it was worth it or not.
right.
Okay.
Londonderry
You could-
would be the first one I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's ask someone else
And,
whether it was.
I don't know if it's Dorset, but I know they did Rutland, so
Yeah.
I can ask
Right.
if they've done this as
That
well.
would
I'd be
be-
happy to do that.
And implementing
Well,
a fraud
Rutland was
policy
way out
until
early.
you've gotten the fraud
Well,
risk
It's not
assessment
comparing apples to
seems
apples.
silly.
But I can certainly go to some of the other towns that I know
Fraud
they
policy,
do
we
it
don't like
for, the
fraud.
audits, and say, have you had it done?
Oh, it's
You-
not
No,
an
the
annual
son's
thing, it's a one
responsibility.
time, I'm sorry, I misunderstood, it's not an annual $2,000.
No, it's a one time.
So they're
$2,000.
examining all our systems to
Okay.
see how
Right.
vulnerable we are.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yep.
Okay, so, documentation of internal control systems, I think that's really mostly on me, with providing, processes of how we do things. That's stuff I just have to sit down and do. Part of it is also requiring somebody to come in like Tim did and look at the journal entries. He didn't feel like if somebody was gonna steal, he felt those were totally unnecessary. But it's still something that they look at and they ask me to look at too. Is anybody looking at the bank statements? Nobody's looking at the bank statements. I look at them, my assistant looks at them. You know, it's just.
Should we be looking at them, Kim? I mean, what is, okay,
Yeah.
once a month, once
I
every
would
3
say once
months?
a quarter. You
Once a
know,
quarter.
somebody got in here once a quarter and did
Alright.
a couple of these things.
Okay, so bank statements and that general ledger
Right.
entries, okay.
Easy peasy, and I hate to tell you this,
Got
but you are familiar with it. Very familiar.
No,
And
not
I'd
at all,
love to be in that.
not at all.
Investment and banking policy. We don't have one. I am not an investment person. I don't even know what that policy would look like. But they want more coordination between the treasurer and the select board, and they're concerned that we don't have anything going like
We
that.
don't, we don't have a policy about whether we put things in CDs or whether we
Right.
hold them in money market accounts and so
Right,
on.
and I don't do anything like that. I keep it in a very secure bank that pays us fairly well and secures it with the required collateralization. But, you know, I can pull a boilerplate thing for that. The next one is an accounting and procedures manual. We have one for the town clerk side. We don't have one for the town treasurer side, and I have to do it. I just have to sit down and do it. Investments, certain investments are not recorded at the current, at the historical cost, which they require, versus what's being recorded at current market value. I don't really understand why that's such a big deal. I'm thankful it's a little further down on the list. But again, I'm not, it's easy enough. It's something that the trustees of public funds have to do differently. And I have almost no control over them. I've been able to get their statements for the most part. We're still missing one that Mimi was in charge of. And that is a problem because we have 30 grand, 20 grand in an account that we can't even get a statement for. And I brought it to their attention again.
And what commission is this?
That
Cemetery?
is, no, this is the schoolhouse fund.
Okay.
I brought it to Ron's attention again and Andy Clapped. And they have to get death certificates and paperwork and letters from somebody that has to be done, and they know it has to be done. And Ron said he would do it again. Procurement policy, we have one, but it hasn't been updated. They want us to update our policies to be more current. And that is a project that is gonna have to be taken on, not just by me, but by Shauna and input from you all as well.
Absolutely, that is number one FEMA thing too, they've
Yes.
asked for it.
And that's the big
Yep,
big
got it.
hurdle. Cemetery fund, I brought this to your attention once before, not as clearly as I should have. I did not realize, but all these years when people pay for cemetery plots, that, well, they pay a certain amount for the plot and they pay a certain amount for the perpetual fund. But the current commission is not separating those two funds. And so when a sale is made, it just goes into the operating account for maintenance.
That's not right.
No, it's not right. So I talked to our auditor, because you had asked him if we could do a look back for a certain amount of time. He said 20 years is more than enough. And I can pull, my staff and I can pull the documents, the deeds, and we're just gonna have to sit down in an Excel and say, here's what should be operating, here's what should be perpetual. And he said, we gotta come up with a number and then we're gonna start with that number. But it has not been separated, and I didn't realize that until I started handling the funds last year for the cemetery. So it's,
Who handled them before, kid?
they did, you know, those funds weren't in the control of the select board or the treasurer, they were in the hands of.
Why are you doing it now?
Because the auditors wanted it. So the funds are all controlled by you. I'm your treasurer, but ultimately the select board has oversight of all these funds. Public trustees of the cemetery or the schoolhouse or whatever it is, they're under your little umbrella of oversight, and it's been very loose.
But we don't tell them, yes, you can spend $20 or no, you
No,
can't.
well, we are sort of moving in that direction, only in that, you know, they really manage it, and they manage it fine.
Yeah.
It's not, well, okay, you can argue about it, I'm not gonna take up your time tonight. So what I did was I got the money from the cemetery commission, and I put it in our funds, and I designated it cemetery. And now what you see on your select board orders are the mowing expenses for the 3 cemeteries, or if they've had trees taken down. That was a huge expense recently.
Mhm.
So you are now seeing that, and you're supposed to see that. It's a town expense, town money that they are entrusted with taking care of. And that's been a big one for this auditor, that we're not
But
really.
it would be good to see what funds are contributed to which part of that.
Well, and it's surprising so much more goes to perpetual fund. So of the 500 that's charged for a local, for someone in town to buy a plot, 150 goes to the operations, and 350 goes to perpetual fund. So that should be significant. Now, the only offset to this is that they're not having to dip in deeper into those perpetual funds for ongoing maintenance. They get the amount we appropriate through the town meeting and budget, and then they also have some sales and some other revenue that they put into operating. But it just probably is always a break even, and I just had to ask them to put more money into their funds so I can continue.
And that covers all the cemeteries,
All
right?
three. Correct,
All three.
right.
My understanding of the perpetual fund was they are only supposed to use the interest on it, but not
I
any of
believe
the
you are
principal.
correct, right, and so,
What are the rules regarding perpetual funds? Because if only, are you allowed to invest them in something other than interest bearing?
well, I think you would have to, if they're required to have interest as their income to use for maintenance, then you have to have a maintenance account.
Well,
Or investment.
my only point is that a principal, a non-expendable principal contribution, if those funds can only be invested in interest-bearing investments, they are always guaranteed gonna underperform inflation. The only way you can beat that bugaboo is by investing in equities. And since, you know, sooner or later, these cemeteries are all gonna be filled up.
Yeah.
And if over your 50-year plan is to waste, have your non-expendable principal dribble away to zero, or effectively zero, that doesn't sound like a good plan to me.
I'm just-
Then you burden,
Well, and she's saying, I don't really want, I don't know how to do the investments, I haven't
I'm
been
not
doing
an
the
investor.
investments, so sounds like you need help with that.
Well, and they need help
They
with
need
that,
help.
but they
Yeah.
need to understand what their obligation is. If they don't.
and we need to
and-
understand what the rules are.
Yes,
So there is no real fund now, is that what you're saying?
so it's in a fund, and it's in either Fidelity or, one
How
of
big
those-
is the fund?
I think it's about 190,000.
Oh, well, that's,
It's significant
Yeah.
for their
Yeah.
needs, and if they have to pull out 10 grand every year, then they're gonna be okay for a while, but they're only
No, they're not.
selling. Well, in our lifetime, we're gonna get a plot,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a plot.
You're gonna get mowed.
I'm gonna get
It's gonna
mowed,
get mowed.
yes, I think it'll be
Yeah.
mowed
road
quite
for about
nicely.
50
So,
years and then.
It needs a little oversight, they need a little help, so.
right, there's a
that's-
book, it's called Digging Deep, and that has all the
Oh, wow.
rules for the cemetery, and they're welcome down, and, yeah, I know, so,
I got it,
Do you-
yeah,
okay,
alright,
got it.
that's, that one I felt like.
Is that book in our library?
It went right down, I have it on the shelf in there.
My God,
I
could you
have
give it to me
never
before
wanted to
I
pick that
leave?
book up.
First child, we don't have promise, yeah. Trustee of public funds, cash and investments, I have a real hard time getting reports out of those folks. There's one who is exemplary, there's two who really struggle with it, and it's truly not helping, I think somehow, some way, it just needs.
Out of where?
The trustees for public funds have cash, it's the Robert Johnson, it's the, they're not huge amounts of money.
Could one of us, like Chris or somebody, just say, listen, I'll chase them? Your
Yes.
chasing them is taking time away from
Well,
other stuff.
it's usually the town report time, because I have to have that information for the report, and there was one year I didn't have it, and I just went with the prior years, and that's pretty sad. Budgeting for vacation, and I know Denny's gonna hate this one. We budget a line item for wages, and then we separate vacation and sick pay and all these other things that are really adding an extra layer of budget of forecasted money, so
Gross funds.
right, and so you're saying your expenses are going to be 50 grand on that one line item, and then you're overstating it by saying, but we're also gonna pay sick pay. When in reality, that that should be part of, it's 52 weeks a year. At 40 hours a week, at whatever rate it is, whether it's sick pay or vacation pay or funeral leave or whatever else, it's still the 52 weeks and whatever that pay rate is. And so they're saying we're really overstating our expenses by having, by separating all those things differently. You can do a couple of different things. You can say, okay, we're gonna guesstimate how much sick pay and how much all this other stuff is. If that makes it super complicated. Or what I think Denny is gonna say is, no, we're gonna leave it the way it is.
So
We're
they'll
gonna
leave the
take
way
a
it
hit
is.
on that one.
And I think I have to agree with him on this, because in 3 years, we're paying out vacation pay, we're not paying it at the year 2019, we're paying it at the 2021 rate, so. Overstating sometimes gives us that little bit of wiggle room.
I think we just said in the new policy.
He hasn't even said it.
I know.
I know it, it's coming,
Hardly needs to.
it's
Yeah.
coming.
So anyway, in the policy, for the personnel policy, we said vacation time would be paid out at the end of the year.
At the end of
So
the
they
year,
would not be accumulating.
they're not going to be.
And sick days are 30
30
years, okay, well, that would help, right?
So, right,
Okay,
so we either use it or we put it into the bank up to 30 days. So I'm just throwing this out as it was raised as an issue, and they recommend the town review these budget lines. How's that?
I got it.
Oh, no,
What?
but then
Do you
we
wanna
should.
say it?
Yes, we should.
I'll let you.
Do you, no, I think you should say it.
Don't, no swearing on public record.
Right. But we should hear it.
I like to keep things simple. We figure 52 weeks. At whatever it is a week. That's what we put in the budget. If they're entitled to 10 sick days, we take it all out. And we don't itemize every little thing for them. They're just trying to make it more complicated. When you get things more complicated, mistakes get made.
But that's what you were given, right?
It's what I was given.
You didn't bring this on, this was passed down to you.
Right, this is how it's always been, and there were a few little things we nibbled out of the way.
Can you nibble some more? I mean, is it?
Not really,
No.
and not, and keep, so honestly, I think as management, you're looking at, okay, well, what is our cost for sick pay? And you wanna see that as a bona fide expense, that you can look and say, why are we spending so much on that? Why are we spending so much on vacation? Whatever, it's fine, I'm just bringing it to your attention that they weren't really fond of it, and part of it was you were overstating your expenses. However, this is a town that doesn't like deficits, and so I kind of like that we can always have a little bit of a surplus, and it just gets put back, right back into the next year's budget anyway, so I see the point. ARPA grant spending, we made a payment to the library, and they didn't feel that it met the requirements of the ARPA grant process. And I spoke to our auditor, and he asked me to have, to monitor how that money is being spent specifically. So if it was granted for XYZ, then it needs to have been spent on XYZ. And it could not have just been put into the big construction fund for the library or the Riverside property or whatever it was.
Well, in other
And
words, you've got to ask treasurer over there to give you an itemized spending.
I do.
They already told us what they were gonna use the ARPA money for, and it qualified for the ARPA spending, which is why we plugged it in as handicap bathroom and maybe the elevator, I'm not, or to chip in toward the elevator.
Yeah.
There was specific things, it's in the select board notes of what they came to us saying, could you help us with X and Y? And we did do that, and I think the number was relatively close to what they needed to do
Well,
both of
it's
those
against
things.
an expense that is going to exceed that amount.
I was gonna say, because I think we might have even said septic, handicap bathroom, I'm not sure. I know that there was,
Yeah.
it was infrastructure.
Yes.
And then I think Deb
Right.
came to us and said, I think the elevator qualified as well.
Yeah.
We have it written down.
And when they spend the money, that will be, it will be documented, it will be itemized,
I don't doubt that at all.
right?
Because what he said is you should have had a subrecipient agreement because they're a separate legal entity. And the only way I think we could have gone about doing it differently is to have taken the 91 grand and put it in our capital fund that we manage for the library. I don't even know, it doesn't matter now. He just said, monitor how it's spent and keep a close eye on it.
Does that apply to the 3 grand that we handed to the other 3?
I forgot to ask him because he didn't point that out. And it may be that the amounts that were given elsewhere were
Just so low that,
de minimis.
and we know what they were spending it on because they came and made a
Right.
that's what I had to document from them, that's what ARPA
Yes.
told me, right, not ARPA per se. Okay.
And again, the last thing was the journal entry approval. It's just one of those little things they keep reminding me about. It's just annoying at this point, because.
You do realize that a lot of times these guys bring this stuff up just so they can say justify the job.
Yeah.
And then it's just not one check.
We haven't seen anything that's counterintuitive to this, so these.
No, and
these are-
their original report said that there were no major
There are
concerns.
no major concerns. They
Yeah,
don't, we
these
didn't,
are all-
I mean,
Yeah.
they really like us, I gotta
They-
tell you.
They like you, we're not doing anything, you're doing it.
Thanks.
So we appreciate what you do.
Well, and that is part of it,
And-
is that we're not doing some of the things that we should in terms of oversight. You can take care of that by,
Right, you haven't been doing it because you've been doing such a good job.
yep, having
But
had
one
to.
of the things we've done here for years that makes your job real easy is we don't have a bunch of debts.
I agree,
And
yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
they've got to track.
I love how you all manage the funds, you know, when we have a savings program, in place. So we need money and, you know, we're gonna build something, we put some money in.
When the flood comes through.
So should we put something out for like 3
I-
months or 6 months
Yes,
to review the
I
things that you?
need to get through the
There's
election,
a couple of things that.
and I need to, there's some time in September, honestly.
September, There
And
would
you
be
should
time.
come to us and say,
No.
Chris, will you help me with cemetery? Lisa, will you help me with this? Howie, can you sign off on the general ledger? Whatever it is that you need, you come to us with those things, because those will check off your list pretty easy.
Yeah, so.
Jim
she'll-
can ask Deb to provide the library thing, like
Yeah.
in one email,
I-
she'll have it done.
I made a note of that.
Wayne had called me, he had
Yeah.
asked me
Yeah.
about it, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to just know what, it wasn't a big deal. He said that, you know, the chances of getting audited on it maybe never will happen, but just make sure you have your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And,
I agree, 100%. You have a file on ARPA now, or
I
maybe
do.
Shauna has, I'm not sure who I gave it to.
Right.
And the 3 letters of request and what they were gonna do with the money is already in there, we'll just slide that in with it. And then the only 2 things left are this building and the town garage spending, and we'll be clean and tidy.
And we have an easier step this year, because
We're
what
just
they
moving
tell you,
it.
the auditor said, the easiest thing to do, so you avoid that single audit, which is a compliance audit, and he said it's absolute nightmare, is you just roll it into your wages. And then once it's passed through wages, you do with whatever, you do with it however you please. It's now been used as wages. I don't know how that exactly works, but that's what he does, and we did it for this year.
And that's what the auditors said to do, and it's also what the ARPA state people said,
At VLCT.
yeah, VLCT. And walked us
ARPA's
through.
evolved. ARPA started with one like very small thing, post-COVID, how can we make you whole? And has become something much, much grander, so.
So,
Alright, let's
Thank
move
you
on
for
to
your
pay
time.
orders.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna move approval of payroll check warrant report number 13, in the amount of $8,425.53.
I will second that.
Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What do we pay Londonderry for, permits and punch cards?
yeah.
Oh, and
trash.
the recycling
Transfer.
center,
Oh,
Tickets you have to have.
yeah.
I'll have the,
Here you go.
I'm gonna move approval of the,
30,000.
yeah, accounts payable check warrant report number 13, in the amount of $30,148.85.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We had one marriage license.
I missed
I
them at
like
Weston. Yeah.
Oh,
We had an
man.
elopement package at the end at Weston, and they just put them in. Yeah.
$65 is the cheapest thing in Weston, is a
Oh, no
marriage
kidding.
license,
Well,
right?
It's actually 80, and we get to keep,
Oh, we keep 65. Got
no,
it.
they get 65.
Oh, they get, right.
State always gets the one to share.
Yes, they do. Mhm.
Any old business?
A meeting with a generator guy tomorrow at 10,
Oh, nice.
right outside here. Make sure that if he has any concerns or whatever about the
You're good with all in
location
on
and
the, on the,
Almond's building the frame, I
yep,
told you
we'll
that.
build the thing at some point.
great.
Yeah. And I haven't heard back from my good one yet. If there's any permit requirement,
Oh, yeah.
I have to run him down. I'll do that.
New business.
Oh, what is that, that
Environmental,
weight thing,
$300.
is that on the?
I think
pay
it's
order?
to stake out the leach field, is that what it was for?
Oh, no, it's for getting permits,
It was for
the weight.
that, the email today, or?
Yeah, that was the email today,
You guys
that,
brought it up.
there was a permit application that they did that they hadn't,
That they forgot.
that they forgot to bill us for. It was- Yeah,
The application fee for the wastewater system from October 2023.
that's not, that wasn't in the pay, in the, accounts payable.
Wait,
We just got it today.
Okay, so,
It's an invoice that we received today?
Yeah.
so do we need to approve it, or are we just
I
gonna pay it?
didn't look at it, so I don't know.
I
We're not-
was
let's-
not in today. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
let's bring,
Yeah.
let's put it in, let's bring it up at the next one. I
Yeah.
haven't even had a chance to look at it.
Or Kim will get it and,
Put it in the
put it in the pay order and we can talk about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like Stephanie Waite sent it only to select board and to Jim. That's why he,
Yeah,
and then I
that's
just
why.
sent it to Kim today.
Okay, So
And
next
it's,
time.
Too early.
they apologize for being late. I realized we never passed along the cost of filling the permit application. My apologies. This was overlooked last fall.
That's fair.
Hope you have a great holiday.
okay.
Well, holidays gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before.
Guess we're done.
I don't know.
Okay, did I hear the word adjournment, the A word? Yes.
They have very good words today. I think it's because he's still sick. You sound a little. It's
Still a
not
little
gone yet
gravelly.
either. It's
The
not
heat.
gone.
Yeah,
No, I'm telling you, these people have been getting sick with whatever it is, whether it's COVID or the flu.
I had COVID.
Recording stopped.
I'm just saying, it's been a
Well, now you
nasty.
just catch the new COVID.
No, I
Whatever
didn't.
that is.
Does the old
No.
test work on the new COVID? That's what I hear.
Apparently,
I
yeah.
think so,
Okay.
yeah.
Tom and I tested
I have a lot of those old